Commission meeting. If you would, please stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Commissioners, you have the minutes in front of you. Any additions, deletions, motions? All right, we have a motion properly made second. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, the minutes are approved from July. I'll turn it over to Mr. Tyndall for announcements.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We do have 3 deferrals here today, so if you're here for any of these 3 cases, they will be deferred till next month. The first one is right there on the first page, Z19-2026, application of the estate of Jason Feltner with Bob Yates as the executor from multiple districts to multiple districts. So case number 1 there, that will be deferred till next month. Then on page 3 of the agenda, under subdivisions, S41-2026, application of Van Warmer Construction for preliminary plat of Church Street Row will be deferred 1 month. And then S44, item number 9, League and Home Builders for final plat of Gold Landing, Section 1, will also be deferred for 1 month. That's all we got, Commissioners. I'll entertain a motion. Yes, sir.
I would like to request that item number 10 on page 3 be deferred.
Number 10. These,
S53.
yeah, we'll have actually a separate public hearing on those ones. These ones were automatically deferred by the applicant's request prior to the meeting. So if you were here for those other 3 that I mentioned, case number 1, number 7, or number 9, you can go home because those will not be considered today. So, Commissioners, those 3 will be in a form of a motion for deferral.
So moved. Second.
All right, we have a motion properly made second on the deferrals. Any discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? All right, those are deferred. All right, I'd like to remind everybody today we're going to have a public hearing on each one of these cases, okay? So someone can come up, 3 people can come up, speak for 3 minutes, for or against, and then we'll have an opportunity for a rebuttal from any individual that would like to do so. I would also like to remind everybody on the zoning cases specifically, this body is only passing on recommendations to the City Council and the County Commission. So if you're interested in any of these cases, you need to, and you want to follow them to the next level, that would be to the County Commission or the City Council. If you need more information on that, you can call the city, you can call the county, or you can call the RPC to follow those cases to their next level there. And without further ado, I'll turn it over to Mr. Spanhauer.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the Commission, for the opportunity to be here today. Your first city zoning case is Z28-2026. It's the application of Blick Homes, LLC. The request is to go from RM1 single-family mobile home residential district to R2A single-family residential district. It's for a parcel of land located on the northern frontage of Eva Drive, approximately 130 feet east of the Britton Springs Road and Eva Drive intersection. The reason for the request listed by the applicant is to subdivide this lot into 2 lots. This request encompasses 0.33 plus or minus acres. It's currently, the portion of the lot that's undeveloped is vacant, but there is a single family home on the other half of this lot. It is in the Lafayette Peters Mill planning area. There is some previous zoning history for this. In 2023, it was requested to go from RM1 to R3, and that was disapproved at City Council. However, it was recommended for approval by the Planning Commission and the Planning Commission staff. There were no department comments of any concern relative to this application. Number 9, you'll see the school capacities listed for the application. The impact would be increased single-family residential density. Historical estimates would be 2 lots. That's the applicant's estimate as well as for 2 lots. Future land use is suburban neighborhood. The staff is recommending approval. The request is consistent with the overall goals and objectives of the adopted Clarksville-Montgomery County Comprehensive Plan. The request aligns with the future land use designation of suburban neighborhood, and the proposed R2A single-family residential district is not is in character with the development pattern for the area. Then you have the two aerial overviews of the request, future land use map, and the zoning map for the area. If you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to try to answer them for you.
Any questions, commissioners? All right. Seeing none, we're going to open up the public hearing on Z28, 2026. Would anyone like to speak in favor? Name and address, please, sir.
Jonathan Blick, 1540 Sale Road. Coming and speaking for Blick Homes. We're just looking to get a second lot out of this. We've had some previous zoning requests. You guys passed that before for higher density, so we're expecting the same approval for a little bit lower density. Really just not trying to price anybody out of the neighborhood. So, all right. Any questions? Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. Would anyone else like to speak in favor of Z28, 2026? Seeing no one, would anyone like to speak against Z28, 2026? Come on up, sir. Name and address, please.
My name is Earl Montier. Everyone calls me Opie. And I live at 711 Eva Drive. Now, I want to mention, my wife's a great cook. Now, she had ham and beans. Now, what they're trying to do is build two houses on a third of an acre. The minimum distance is 10 feet between. Now, with what I just said about my wife being the good cook, if I go out there on the porch and accidentally let one go, my neighbor's going to smell it. Okay? I hate to be vulgar like that, but it gets us thinking how close they're building these houses. I was a volunteer firefighter in Pennsylvania. These close houses, when one burns, we got vinyl siding. The second one burns. You want to go to sleep at night, or you want to sleep with one eye open? My college professor said if you want to go to sleep at night, use 12-3 wire in your house. You can go to sleep. Anything other than that, it'll catch fire and burn. We all have kids. Think of that. Well, my next little demo is Junior here. They don't have a turnaround in their driveways. You're backing out on a blind turn. And where's an officer that I can hand these pictures to? Sir, would you look at these and pass them around? A blind turn, no turnaround. That means that baby is dead or in the hospital. That's what I'm trying to stop. Clarksville has to grow. I understand that. Our infrastructure, we need to fix it. Britton Springs Eva Drive here not too long ago had a main water line bust. They come in and fixed it. Just the other day, Eva Drive 708, which is right around that sharp turn, water line busted. They come in and patched it. Our infrastructure is old. That area has been there since the 60s. We need to fix it, then build. That's what I'm trying to get across to everybody. It's the first time I've been here, and I want to let you know that, because we're not opening our eyes or thinking about this. That's really all I have to say. Any questions, please ask. That gentleman right there, he's been to some of these meetings I've been to. I'm very vocal. Ms. Streetman, you've seen me at the city council. I know what I'm talking about. I spent 20 years in the military as an engineer. So, please ask the question.
Thank you, sir.
Come on, Junior, let's go back here.
All right, would anybody else like to speak against Z28, 2026? Seeing no one. Mr. Blick, would you like to rebut? No rebuttal. All right, we're going to exit public hearing, commissioners.
I'm gonna make a motion for approval based on the proposal of R2A single-family residential district is in character with the development pattern in the area. Second.
All right, we have a motion properly made second. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Z28, 2026 passes.
Sir, are these ours or do you need copies? I'll get them to her. All right, your next application starts as Z29, 2026 is the application of Honeycutt LLC. The request is to go from R1 Single Family Mobile Home Residential District to R2A Single Family Residential District. It's for a property located on the eastern frontage of Calvert Drive, approximately 360 feet south of the Center Road and Calvert Drive intersection. The reason for the request stated by the applicant is to build 3 single-family lots. This request encompasses .34 plus or minus acres. It's currently in the Lafayette Peters Mill planning area. You'll see the department comments that were received in reference to this application. CD did note that there's some overhead electric lines on the property. They would either need to be relocated or an easement applied to those lines. 9, you have the school system capacities. The impact is the increased single-family residential density. The applicant's historic or estimate is 3 lots, and our historic estimate for this development is for 3 lots. Again, it is in the Lafayette Peters Mill planning area. The future land use opinion map indicates this property is suburban neighborhood. Staff's recommendation is for approval. The request is consistent with the overall goals and objectives of the adopted Clarksville-Montgomery County Comprehensive Plan. This request aligns with the future land use designation of suburban neighborhood, and the proposed R2A single-family residential district is in character with the development pattern for the area. You have 2 aerial photographs showing the property in question crosshatched, the future land use opinion map, and then a current zoning map of the area with the property in question being crosshatched. If you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to try to answer them for you.
All right, seeing no questions from the commissioners, we're going to open up public hearing on Z29, 2026. Would anyone like to speak in favor?
Good afternoon. Cal Birch with McKay Birch and Company, 1545 Madison Street. We're the engineer assisting with this project. I'd be happy to answer any questions y'all may have.
Thank you, sir. Would anyone else like to speak in favor of Z29, 2026? Seeing no one, would anyone like to speak against Z29, 2026? All right, we're going to exit public hearing, commissioners.
Make a motion for approval. This request aligns with the future land use designation of suburban neighborhood.
All right, we go to motion, properly made second. All those in favor? We got an abstention. Any opposed? All right. Z29, 2026 passes with 1 abstention.
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to turn the presentation over to Mr. Tyndall for Z02, 2026.
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Spainhoward. You can refer to the screen for the map, commissioners, and then on page 17 through 21 is the actual ordinance language that would be forwarded to City Council. Before I start, there is also a amendment after the public hearing. We'll ask you to put an amendment on the floor. There was a change since Friday, and I want to make sure that it's done properly. I'll talk about that in a second. This ordinance accomplishes 3.5 things here. The first and major one, the Planning Commission started 2 months ago, pertaining to vape shops, smoke shops, tobacco shops. We don't really currently have a definition of what those are. We modeled this ordinance very similar to the liquor store ordinance. where there's a distance for shops that sell more than 25% of their merchandise area as vape, tobacco, or the paraphernalia contained therein. And it's this one's a little different than liquor stores in the sense that it is 1,000 feet from a school, church, or park. The liquor store is only 500 feet. But if we went back, and this is the change since Friday, commissioners, the state law when it comes to these types of products, and especially things containing THC, CBD derivatives, is 1,000 feet. So we are matching state law. And on the map you see on this screen here, the areas in blue are areas that are currently zone C5 that are outside of the 1,000 feet and outside of the 1,500 feet between like businesses. So there's two things going on. It's to keep it away from those parks, churches, and schools, as well as avoid over-concentration. And you can definitely see some areas of concentration, Fort Campbell Boulevard, Madison Street, Wilma Rudolph Boulevard, for instance. So the areas in blue are areas that could accommodate a shop that sells more than 25% of their merchandise area in these products. Or if one of these should move in the future, they would have to move to one of those more compliant areas. So that's the main item there on the ordinance. It did require us updating a couple definitions for cigar bar, merchandise area, and smoke shop. And then we also updated the retail definition slightly so that it could catch non-tobacco related retail. We updated the under 3.4.5, the use chart, and then added those conditions I just mentioned with 1,000 feet and 1,500 feet. In the second section, under 5.10, page 19, the staff has had some issues this year with some small projects that have come in that are being built after the fact, mostly with drive-through uses and other, as the use change, it doesn't always trigger a different site plan. And we're always looking at making sure that we have a safe site to operate and that the traffic and access works properly. So we took an opportunity to update section 5.10, which is the site plan requirements, and added now that should a development, and this is where the amendment is, it should be in front of your thing here, affecting vehicular circulation on the site, access, drive-through facilities, landscaping, green space, and other site improvements would trigger a site plan. And then we went a little further down on letter C there, and we further defined what a minor level review is. So a major review means it comes to the Planning Commission, and then a minor review can be done by staff. In the past, and this has been the rule since before 2000, I think, you had to be a platted lot and in order to not have to go to the Planning Commission. We've changed that rule that if you're an unplatted lot, but you've received a site plan approval since April 1st, 2005, and that's the date that the city and the county both had stormwater regulations, you can be considered a staff level plat if you meet the other conditions right behind it. This will avoid we get a lot of industries that come in. They've never been platted because they're large lots. They're 60 or even 100 acres. But maybe they're only adding a 10,000 square foot addition to their building. We've seen those time and time again have to go to the Planning Commission. This would allow it to be a staff level review. It's a little cheaper and it goes a little quicker. It doesn't require the notification and the board action. We also defined a little further what is a staff level review. In the past, we had it at 15,000 square feet for new commercial or industrial buildings. Well, that's larger than a Dollar General building, so we've lowered that to 5,000 square feet. We've left the 16 units for multifamily there as well. Going up just a little bit on that page, another thing we've dealt with this past year, you've seen a couple site plans here for pavilions, sheds, garages that are associated with maybe a church or a business. We've added a new exemption that accessory structures that are less than 1,200 square feet but have no enclosed habitable space. So offices, bedrooms, those kind of things. If it's just a storage room, even a bathroom, but it's under 1,200 square feet, it would not have to come to the Planning Commission for review at all. We've had a couple recently have to come through because they were building picnic pavilions, and that should really just go directly to the code department. So they're on board with that one. That will help both the code department and us tremendously by putting that one in there. The final move here under design standards 9.44, we're going to move metal as an appropriate material to an accent material in the design districts. And then the very final item, 9.44, we noticed there was some redundant language left over from a recent update, so we're just striking those two sections, 1.69, 1.610, because it's literally identical to the ones right before it. So just cleaning up that a little bit. So, Mr. Chairman, we'll have a public hearing, and then, as mentioned, commissioners, in red line text, we got that minor change under applicability, and then adding under minor to just further clarify that improvements or alterations to vehicular circulation, drive-throughs, or landscaping and green space would be a staff level review and not required to go to the Planning Commission. We can take that up after the public hearing. I'll be happy to answer any questions at this time.
Commissioners, questions? All right, we're going to open up public hearing on ZO2 2026. Would anyone like to speak in favor? All right, would anyone like to speak against ZO2 2026? Come on up, sir. Name and address, please.
We'll go with Clarksville Street Department, David Smith, Director, 199 10th Street. It's a little abstract. So I'll preface a bit. I've worn a hat, for many of you know, that as the codes director, so this is not unfamiliar territory for me. I've seen some reaching of late, and I think this is that. 3 cases, because I'm big on metrics, I'm big on facts. Chase Bank looked to occupy a 5-year-old structure on Tiny Town Road. New construction, recent standards, they wanted to cut in the drive-through. Not your typical bank drive-through, no overhang, no vacuum tubes, just a drive-through. Our comments were simple: no sidewalks required, no stormwater changes, it's all impermeable, no big deal. Planning Commission says nope, landscaping needs to be brought up, they do install sidewalks. That's strange. Zaxby's striping in a second drive-through. That's it. Sidewalks on Lowe's Drive. Bring the landscaping into compliance. We're talking about some smaller businesses here as we start to move forward. Bubba Coo's Burritos. Closed up shop, hate to see it, in a build to suit. Donut shop is going to come in behind him. Sidewalks on Madison Street. A tenant infill. He backed off later. Did the Planning Commission said, you know what, is challenging topography. We'll waive sidewalks in this circumstance. Sidewalks are the purview of the street department. Landscaping, asking folks, and that's what this does, to come into compliance with the full zoning code for a minor remodel is fiscally not achievable for small business. It's going to drive prices up. It's going to lead to more vacancies in some of these tenant infill spaces. I'm against this. I don't think this is good. I've heard from a lot of the development community. When asked why this was done quietly, we were writing the zoning code. How many public meetings we've had on the zoning code? How many times has the Planning Commission staff met with, the different members from different departments? Several. Not this time. I was told it was none of my business. It didn't involve the street department. I think sidewalks and I think access directly involve the street department. And I think we should be at the table. I think the development community should be at the table deciding what's best, and I think compromise can be achieved. I don't think it should be done something like this. It's very, very quiet and rushed through in the fashion that it's been done. I think this element should be deferred. I have no objection whatsoever to the vape shops and that sort of stuff. I think that's really, really good legislation. But I think there needs to be a bigger conversation on this other. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Would anyone else like to speak against ZO2 2026? Come on up, sir.
Cal Burchett, McKay Burchett Company. I'd also like to ask for a deferment. I heard some changes there that weren't of my knowledge until you said them. So I understand the reasoning, and we're not against something, but see a lot of other municipalities put a percentage of change or identify more directly exactly, what brings it back to planning staff or planning commission. Like, if I wanted to add a light pole at our office, currently I would have to come to the staff to add a light pole, and then I'm subject to, it says any site change. So, to me, that's so vague that, then I'm subject to sidewalks and, pedestrian connectivity. I think we need to define all these things more clearly. And so I ask for deferment too.
Thank you, sir. All right, have room for one more against ZO2 2026. Any takers? All right, we're going to exit public hearing. Commissioners?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to ask to divide the question for this and divide out the portion regarding under section 5.10 site plan requirements up to the under 9.4.4 design standards and guidelines. Can we divide the question with that part regarding site plans being the second question?
Just to be clear, this is removing section 5.10 only,
Yes,
but
sir.
leaving in 944 and 944E.
Yes, sir. We didn't see that. Haven't
Okay.
seen any issue with that.
Just making sure. Okay.
Yes, sir.
I got to know how to rewrite this for Lisa.
So removing 5.10, right? Okay.
Splitting it, yeah.
Just splitting the question. Commissioner Smith seconded.
All right, we have a motion and a second.
I have a point of, we're just making sure so that we can vote on one, get it off, and then discuss the other. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Just wanted to make sure.
Current vote is for just to split
Just to split it.
Okay,
Just to split it.
thank you.
So we have a motion and a properly made second to split the question, basically separate 5.10 from everything else. Okay, everybody got it? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the question has been split.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes,
I'd
ma'am.
like to make a motion for approval on the remaining portion of the question. The first part of it for the vape shops and the 9.44.
Second.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, so we have a motion and a properly made second on everything except for section 5.10.
And I'd like to just say, thank you, Mr. Tyndall, for all your work on this. I appreciate everything you've done since I brought it forward, asking you to do this for us. I know that not only have you worked to research things on a state level, but also talking with others that are involved in our community, including our county officials as well.
Any discussion on this one? Seeing no one, all right, we have a motion properly made second on everything except for 5.10.
Did
All
we
those,
get
all those
hold
in
on.
favor?
Did we get a second on? Okay, thank you.
You second it. Yeah.
Got it.
All those in favor? Any opposed? All right. Part of the ordinance passes.
Question's still in two right now. I'll do a motion to defer the second part of the question, which is
5.10.
5.10. Let's take a time to defer it and let the staff get with the people who spoke today so that they have a little bit of say in what's going on, and we'll look forward in the future.
Second.
All right, we have a motion properly made second to defer 5.
Do a 30 or 60.
1 month should be fine.
Do a
Yeah.
30-day deferral to the next month's meeting.
Okay. Motion second, 30-day deferral on 5.10.
Do you want to defer it again?
I do want to add one thing. I know that Mr. Tyndall worked with building codes to be able to craft this. I realize everybody's in favor of the deferral, but I do just want to speak to that I know I've talked myself with Mr. Crosby.
Yeah, I think if we just work out letter A with some of the development community, it'll be all right. So 1 month should be plenty.
Everybody ready? All right, we had a motion properly made second. All those in favor to defer for 30 days 5.10. Any opposed? All right, 5.10 of ZO2 2026 is deferred 30 days.
Commissioners, under your county zoning tab, you have CZ 10 2026. Starts page 1 of the county zoning staff report. It's the application of David and Deborah Tuberville. The request is to go from AG Agricultural District to E1 Single Family Estate District. It's for a parcel of land located on the western frontage of Louise Road, approximately 375 feet north of the intersection of Louise Creek Road and Louise Road. The reason for the request stated by the applicant is the current home is 126 years old and deteriorating, and they would like to place a manufactured home and increase the property value. Again, those are the words of the applicant. This request encompasses 1.38 plus or minus acres. It's currently in the rural area. It's in the Cumberland South River planning area, and also in the rural area of the Montgomery County Growth Plan. There were no department comments of any concern relative to this application. The overall impact is minimal. Historical estimates indicate there would be one lot on this parcel because it's changing the minimum acreage from 1.5 acres to 1 acre. Future land use map indicates this property is rural reserve. The staff's recommendation is for approval. The request is consistent with the overall goals and objectives of the adopted Clarksville-Montgomery County Comprehensive Plan. This small-scale request of E1 Estate District aligns with the Rural Reserve Future Land Use Designation, and this request brings an existing non-conforming parcel into conformance with the current zoning resolution. You have your aerial photographs with the property in question crosshatched on the next two slides. You have the future land use designation map and then the current zoning map for the area. If you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them for you.
All right, seeing no questions, we'll open up public hearing on CZ 10, 2026. Would anyone like to speak in favor?
Good afternoon. I'm Deborah Tuberville. I'm one of the owners. My husband is also here. We would like to rezone it from the agriculture to the E1 because the 1.3738 acre lot cleanly meets the one minimum acreage required. The 1800s home that is there is deteriorating due to the age and lack of a solid foundation. As we know, some of those houses were built on like just hard rocks. We're replacing it with a new manufactured home on a permanent block foundation with proper footage and the hitch removed. There will be massive aesthetic upgrade, and we are fully prepared to complete the required soil testing, septic permits, and everything that we need to do to ensure that this is within code and up to standards. And I can answer any questions that you have.
No questions, thank you. All right, would anyone else like to speak in favor of CZ 10, 2026? Would anyone like to speak against CZ 10, 2026? All right, we're going to exit public hearing. Commissioners?
Make a motion for approval. This request brings an existing non-conforming parcel into conformance with the current county zoning resolution.
Second.
All right, we have a motion properly made second. All those in favor? Any opposed? All right, CZ 10, 2026 passes.
All right, Commissioners, your last county zoning application, zone change request is CZ 11, 2026. It's item 6 on the agenda. It's the application of J&N Enterprises. The request is to go from E1 Single Family Estate District to C5 Highway and Arterial Commercial District. It's a tract of land situated east of Guthrie Highway and south of Arkadelphia Road with frontage along both Guthrie Highway and Arkadelphia Road. The reason for the request stated by the applicant is to make the land around the new proposed road to the fairgrounds compatible with said fairgrounds. This request encompasses 39.79 plus or minus acres, presently zoned E1 Single Family Estate District, proposed to go to C5 Highway and Arterial Commercial District. It is in the rural area of the Montgomery County Growth Plan and the Ross U planning area. You'll see the department comments that were received in reference to this application. Gas and water has indicated a water main upgrade would be required and no gravity sewer is currently available on site. You do have school system capacities there shown, but the E1 that's currently, there is no increase in residential density as the E1 is remaining the same. The impact would be increased traffic, light, and noise associated with commercial use and increased residential density. Please strike that last portion about density. And then the road access is for Guthrie Highway, the new fairgrounds entrance road proposed through this parcel. Again, it is in the Rossview planted area in the future land use map for rural reserve. When this, we did mail a letter that originally had this property listed as agricultural. Due to my error, the green overlay that appeared to be ag was actually E1 as it carried over for the zoning. So we did send another letter out to clarify that. Staff's recommendation is for approval with condition. The condition is the landscaping, buffering, screening requirements of Montgomery County zoning resolution shall apply to all development with the area of request despite its current rural area designation in the adopted growth plan. The development of Montgomery County Fairgrounds Park represents a significant change in the area that was not included in the current Clarksville-Montgomery County Comprehensive Plan. This property's location along the primary entrance to the new public facility provides an opportunity for commercial zoning that is more appropriate than the current E1 single-family zoning classification. You do have two aerial photographs showing the property in question. The remainder of the parcel is the direct E1 that's below in the map. You have the future land use opinion map, and then you have the current zoning map that's for the area. You do have some public comments that show up on the next two slides beyond that. We'll add a little bit of detail. To my knowledge, this is the first we've done a recommendation with a condition. As explained with the comprehensive plan, this property was not shown as a public facility at that time. And did not have the considerations for the growth plan and the landscaping. Currently, the Montgomery County zoning resolution does require landscaping in the both PGA and the UGB. So, and the Planning Commission does have the right to make a recommendation without the condition, if so choose. If you have any other questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them for you.
All right, seeing no questions from commissioners, I'm going to open up public hearing on CZ 11, 2026. Would anyone like to speak in favor? Afternoon, sir. Name and address, please.
Vernon Weekly, 108 Center Point Drive. I'm representing Marshall and Jonathan Jennings Enterprise, and this has to do with the fairgrounds, and we appreciate the support of the staff and ask for your vote. Be glad to answer any questions if you could.
Thank you, sir. Would anyone else like to speak in favor of CZ 11, 2026? Would anyone like to speak against CZ 11, 2026? Come on up, sir. Name and address, please.
Good afternoon. My name's Danny Seeley. I live at 4887 Guthrie Highway. I have three concerns over this project: stormwater, traffic, and the scale of this rezoning. First, stormwater is already an issue on my property. During heavy rains, I currently receive runoff from this land. My concern is what happens if commercial development adds buildings, parking lots, roads, and grading that could change the amount of or direction of that runoff. I understand detailed drainage engineering may occur later, but because I already experienced this problem, I believe its potential impact should be considered before nearly 40 acres are rezoned for more intensive commercial development. Second is traffic. Guthrie Highway is already a busy roadway. A 2024 regional transportation study of the Guthrie Highway corridor from I-24 to the Kentucky state line found a 5-year average of approximately 54 crashes per year, including about 2 fatal or serious injury crashes per year. I recommend and it recommended safety improvements along the corridor. I live just south of Arkadelphia Road, about maybe 1,000 to 1,500 feet. With fairs, concerts, festivals, and other events potentially generating large amounts of traffic at the same time, I'm concerned about whether I'll be able to safely enter and exit my own driveway. I don't know if anyone's been to the amphitheater in Franklin, where it's just the 2 lanes going in and 2 lanes going out. The first time I went there, I was 3 miles away, and it took me about 3 hours to get in there. And I imagine this will be something similar to that. Finally, Why do they need 39.79 acres? The stated reason for this request is to make the property around the proposed Fairgrounds Road compatible with the fairgrounds. If that is the purpose, why does the entire 39.79 acres need to become C5 highway and arterial commercial? The growth plan also designates this property as a rural area, making this a substantial change from estate residential to highway commercial. I am simply asking that before making that permanent change, we understand its impact on drainage, traffic, and infrastructure on the surrounding properties and the future character of this area. I'm not asking you to stop development. I'm asking you to determine whether 40 acres of C5 commercial zoning is appropriate before we fully understand its effect on the people who already live there. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, would anyone else like to speak against CZ 11, 2026? Come on up. Name and address, please, sir.
Ed Myers, 255 Arkadelphia. I'm not speaking in favor of or opposition. I just want to know what they're going to do with the land. That's all. It's a field. It's got beans in it right now. That's all. I just want to know, are we going to put a high road in there? Are we going to put a Dairy Queen in there, or what's the plan?
You want me to answer that
Yeah, go
now?
ahead.
To my knowledge, right now, it's speculative as to what goes there. I can tell you that there is a plan to show and I have a plan that you're welcome to look at that shows the creation of a road through the middle of the site that will be the future access. At this point, there's no divisions. There's some speculative designs, but specific uses, there is none listed.
All right, I have room for one more for against CZ 11, 20. Come on up, sir. Name and address, please.
Scott Thompson, 4691 Guthrie. I'm neighbors with the first speaker. I live further downstream than he does, and I can tell you during every heavy rain from that area, that very area, we get drain water that goes downstream. And it really floods out 4 properties around me. Myself, my neighbor to the right, my 2 neighbors to the left that are closest to the creek. To the point that the water is it is up to their doorstep. They're completely surrounded by water. It's just when they designed it, everything goes downstream and just goes through our property in order to get to low ground, right? I think there's an opportunity here in addition to, potentially a very catastrophic situation, right? The opportunity is you might be able to fix the storm water problems with this particular construction that they're doing. The downside would be it's not even considered, and from the cement, from all the pavement, we get even more drainage going downstream and really compounding a flooding problem that's already occurring. Otherwise, I have the same traffic concerns that my neighbor does. I can't really speak to the land usage, but I just wanted to get those 2 concerns on the record.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I can speak to that. At this
If you
point,
would,
they're
please.
proposing to change the land use. Any future development will require another review and submittal here, at which point in time they'll do the more thorough specific to the site review. That would be including the development of the residential portion and any commercial. And you should get a notice in reference to those if that were to occur.
Mr. Weekly, would you like to rebut? Where's he at? No. Okay. We're going to exit public hearing. Commissioners?
Can we bring Jeff Bryan up here? No? You know nothing about this one? As the county commission rep on this planning commission, I would say that the county has already been working with the state on traffic improvement and safety on the state route side. So that does kind of affect this development a little bit, but that would be to answer the gentleman, I don't know where he went to sit down, about traffic on the main highway. Lower speed limits, roundabout, is that correct, Jeff? That's correct. Then after this development, if this is approved to allow commercial corridor leading into our fairgrounds project, We would also have roundabouts in there. So the traffic would be slowed down and smoothed out going through there. We don't want red lights that cause traffic jams, especially in what was a 55-mile-an-hour zone. I don't know the exact speed limit yet. I've been told a couple of different numbers between 35 and 40 miles an hour.
It'll be 35.
Leading up to the roundabout. So it'll slow that traffic pattern down coming into that area. Anything else you want to add, Jeff?
No,
Or
there'll be
correct me
additional
on?
lanes as well.
And additional
Approaching
lanes
the
leading
roundabout.
into it. With that being an arterial highway, the TDOT's going to allow for a roundabout big enough to allow 18-wheelers through it as well.
Yeah. Anything else?
Oh,
Is there anything addressing the water runoff that they're currently experiencing from rain?
so I think that's what John was just saying. This is just a zoning request change. When the zoning request is done, then when the developer decides to develop commercial buildings on that property, that's when we'll get the traffic impact study for that little corridor, also with drainage plans and water supply stuff.
I can tell you for the record, I do have a copy. For anyone that's in the public, there is the copy of the traffic impact study and the plan showing a draft version of where the road would be located. If anybody wants to see that at the completion of the meeting.
The road into the fairgrounds is a 4-lane divided highway or section.
Divided road running through that commercial
4
corridor.
lanes, yes.
The good thing is that most of the commercial will be facing that interior road, not onto the main highway, correct? Okay.
Well, it may be a little early, Jeff, but I don't think any driveways are going to be permitted on Guthrie Highway by the roundabout. That's not typically
That's
how you
not
build a
typical, yeah.
roundabout. They'll be internal to the road.
Correct.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Bryant. All right, commissioners.
I'll make a motion for approval with the condition listed about the landscape buffering and screening requirements.
Second.
All right, we have a motion for approval, properly made second. Any more discussion, questions? All those in favor? Any opposed? All right, CZ 11, 2026 passes.
Okay, commissioners, if you'll open up the subdivision tab on your tablets. And as the public already knows, we've already deferred S41 and S44. So the remaining items, all items in this portion of the agenda for the subdivisions are considered to be routine and non-controversial by the staff of the Regional Planning Commission and may be approved by one motion. However, a member of the audience, commission, or staff may request that an item be removed for separate consideration. Mr. Parker, would you read the 2 subdivisions into the record? I think so. Read them and then we'll pull them both, yeah.
Okay, case number S43, MVM Properties. The subdivision is called the Reserve at Hickory Wild, Section 2. It is a preliminary plat. Case number S53. The applicant is River Investments. The subdivision is residences at the River Club. It is a preliminary plat. And those are the 2 subdivisions. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, staff was going to pull S43 2026 for a separate public hearing, and it does sound like we have a citizen here that would like to have a public hearing on S53. Is that correct, sir? So we'll just have both of these pulled individually, and we'll have to consider them individually. So no consent agenda on this today.
Okay, again, case number S43, 2026. Applicant is MVM Properties. The subdivision is the Reserve at Hickory Wild Section 2 cluster. It is a preliminary plat. The property is located east of Dunlop Lane, east of and adjacent to the current terminus of Judge Tyler Drive. Approximately 59.81 acres, 148 lots are proposed, and the current zoning of the property is R1. On page 4 and 5, you'll see an email from the county drainage consultant. And to paraphrase a little bit, what they've stated is they've accounted for this area. Detention will be required, but it should not impact their study. But if you want to see the full email, it's in your packet again. On pages 4 and 5, there's an image in there as well. On page 6, there's an email from the assessor's office that's confirming the existing clubhouse for Hickory Wild is on the Hickory Wild open space. Page 7, you'll see the aerial overview. On page 8 is the proposed preliminary plat. And page 9 through 98 are the public comments, pics, and other information that's been provided to the Planning Commission. The staff recommendation is for approval subject to the following conditions, and I will read these conditions into the record. Number 1, approval by the County Highway Department of road and drainage plans for drainage structures within the proposed rights-of-way before construction begins on site. This shall include traffic calming measures as required by the Montgomery County Highway Department. Number 2, approval of grading permit by Montgomery County Building Codes before final plat approval. Number 3, approval of all utility plans by the Office of the Chief Utility Engineer. And number 4, the developer shall construct a roadway connection between the northern and southern termini of John Duke Tyler Boulevard, contingent upon Montgomery County acquiring the necessary property interest to facilitate the connection. If there's any questions, I'll be happy to try and answer those, Commissioners.
Commissioners, I'll give you a few minutes on the attachments before we open up public hearing. Commissioners, everybody ready? Ready to go? All right, I'm going to open up public hearing on S43 2026. Would anyone like to speak in favor?
Commissioners, Vernon Weekly, 108 Center Point Drive. On this preliminary plat, we were deferred last month. We have got with the planning commission, got with the consultant for the county, determined that it didn't have any effect on the problems that they were looking into. And so it was sort of why we were deferred last month, because we have met all the requirements to staff. It's recommended approval, and I'm asking for your approval on this subdivision. Be glad to answer any questions if you have any.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, would anyone else like to speak in favor of S43 2026? Come on up, sir. Name and address, please.
Good afternoon, Shannon Heim, 238 John Duke Tyler Boulevard. Good afternoon. I'm here to speak in favor of Resolution 43 2026. I'm a real estate broker and a resident of Hickory Wild. I'm speaking today from both a professional and a personal perspective, and I want to make it clear that I have no association with the developers of this project. My family and I have called Hickory Wild home since 2014. My mother, who is in her 70s, also lives in the neighborhood. I regularly look at development through the lenses of responsible growth, infrastructure, and long-term community impact. When Dunlop Road flooded in April of 25, residents lost the only access out of the neighborhood for roughly 2 weeks. The only access was a temporary road that the highway department created after a few days connecting Wellington Fields at the end of John Duke Tyler. The gravel road was only possible because a private landowner granted access and allowed that cut through. Without that permission, our situation could have been worse. That experience showed us why multiple access points matter. The proposed development would connect into the existing roadway system through several, lost my notes. Would create several additional long-term access and connectivity. I also want to make an important distinction. To my knowledge, none of the homes in Hickory Wild or the reserve were flooded. The roadway and the alley connections that have been raised are community and HOA maintenance issues. It is very important that those issues be addressed, but they are separate from the question before the Planning Commission today. As for flooding in the area, the county has actively, as we all know, has actively addressed the larger stormwater issue with $5 million committed to the improvements around the Exit 8 area. We can address drainage while also improving emergency access. I don't want my family, my mother, or the neighbors depending on one road or the permission of a private landowner during the next emergency. The flooding we experience should not be the reason to prevent these connections. It should be a reminder of why they are necessary. For the long-term safety and connectivity of our neighborhood, I respectfully ask you to approve S43 2026. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Would anyone else like to speak in favor of S43 2026? Come on up, ma'am. Name and address, please.
Hello, Stephanie Dang, 618 Tacoma Drive. I am a homeowner in the reserve at Hickory Wild, and I would like to speak in favor of the proposed new phase of development. Continued growth often brings additional infrastructure, connectivity, services, and amenities that benefit both new and existing residents. For me, one of the most important benefits of this development is simply not growth or convenience. It is additional access for emergency personnel and residents when something happens to the only available route into or out of the neighborhood. My family lives on Tacoma Drive, and currently we essentially have one way in and one way out. I never fully appreciated how concerning that would be until Dunlop Lane flooded. Hickory Wild was temporarily connected when a thoroughfare was created connecting Wellington Fields subdivision to John Duke Tyler Boulevard. Because that connection was available, my family had no trouble getting in and out. That experience completely changed the way I looked at interconnected streets. The existing road stubs are also important to note. Their presence indicates that future connectivity between these phases was contemplated as the neighborhoods developed. Rather than viewing those connections only as possible additional traffic to a specific street of Hickory Wild, we should also consider what they provide: multiple routes for residents, and most importantly, multiple routes for emergency responders. When there is only one entrance, a flood, serious accident, downed tree, utility or construction issue, or other emergency can potentially restrict access to an entire neighborhood, and more importantly, delay or limit the ability of fire, EMS, police, and other emergency personnel to reach residents when every minute matters. Connecting these neighborhoods through existing road stubs creates multiple points of access. So if one route becomes blocked or inaccessible, emergency responders have another way in. To me, this is not just a matter of convenience, it is an important public safety matter. Many of the neighbors continued using that temporary road that connected Wellington even after the flooding was resolved because it provided additional connectivity, which was so practical. But convenience is secondary to the safety benefit of having more than one route in and out. I experienced firsthand what it meant to have an alternate route when our normal access was compromised. I would much rather have those connections established before the next emergency than realize how important it could have been. If the studies support responsible development, I respectfully ask the Commission to approve the proposed new phase of Hickory Wild and the roadway connections that come with it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, would anyone like to speak against S43 2026? Come on up. Name and address, please, ma'am.
Hi. Kathy Latrobe, 1141 Old Duke Drive in Hickory Wild. Okay. Good afternoon. Do you all remember Farmington? Do you remember the flooding that ravaged that community, forcing people out of their homes in the middle of the night? Remember the standing floodwaters in the field that ran along Dunlop all the way through Beech Grove? And that kept Dunlop Lane closed for months in reality. Do you understand the damage that has been done to the Kirkwood area, to the reserves, to Wellington Fields, to Farmington? And yes, even though we didn't flood in Hickory Wild, there was other damage. We remember this. We have people that vividly remember that night and the time that we had to spend in recovering. Here we are, a year and a half after the event. We're still hurting. We're still trying to rebuild, and we see nothing in the way of mitigation from the county for this flooding issue and the drainage issue. After this event, I began reading, following news articles, researching, talking with people, and I was completely shocked in what I found. Stormwater management issues had been well known as far back as the 1990s in Montgomery County. North of us, along the Kentucky line, development was being planned back then. The county recognized that a large drainage basin was right in the middle of that land that the development was going to start. Nothing was done to mitigate that, and they went ahead and allowed that development to start. So now let's fast forward back to 2025 floods, noting that that area up there also had flooding since 2000 all the way up to 2025. In exploring this catastrophic event, I came across, a very interesting article, or actually a document. Is there a clerk? Who's the clerk?
I'm handed to Mr. Lau.
This gentleman. Okay, I would like. I'd like to have this submitted into the into the public record. This document is a notice of violation. It is dated April 23rd, 2025. It came from the Division of Water Resources to the landowner of a development along the Kentucky line, and it cites violations of erosion prevention sediment controls, stormwater pollution prevention planning, as well as best management practices for the compliance of for the compliance with the general permit for construction. In other words, the developer did nothing to protect the community from the known risk. Who was the developer? JDL Development, who was the landowner. The engineer was Vernon Weekly. Note that he is also...
Ma'am, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Wrap it up for me. You hit
Okay,
your
I'm
time
sorry.
limit.
He's
I'm sorry.
also the development partner for the preserve, the expansion at the reserves, all right? Here's the question. Who's responsible? Who will take accountability for what we want to have in our development? We need to get this particular issue under control. Does this commission take that responsibility? Does the developer? And what we're coming across is no. There are variances allowed, development starts. My question to you all is, and my request, is that you hold this up until this true mitigation, stormwater management
Wrap it up
can
now.
be
Wrap it
addressed.
up.
That's it. That's
Thank you,
all I
ma'am.
have to say.
All right. Would anyone else like to speak against S43 2026? Name and address, please.
Hello, I'm Camille Jones, 1162 Buggy Cove. All right. Hang on. Good afternoon, Commissioners. As you review your packet, some things might have been left out, and I believe context is very important for you and the public to be made aware of prior to voting for S43 226. My review is based strictly on public accessible property records, articles, deeds, and commission agendas. The reason for potential confusion is because it's confusing. The application received by the public and commission identified Gordon C. as the applicant and Weekly Brothers as the engineering company. The agenda was given to the public online, but when I arrived at the meeting, the agenda had been changed and it was the new applicant, MVM Properties. Along with ongoing litigation, property ownership disputes that are still in dispute, there may have immediate red flags. So I did my due diligence. I reviewed some public records to confirm who these entities are. On July 20th, 2026, a week before the last meeting, the land was sold to VHS developers and then deeded to MVM Properties on the same day. Both of these, oh my gosh, I lost my place. Both showing part ownership with Mr. Weekly. Guys, this means that Vernon Weekly, the project's surveyor engineer, is also an owner and partner in both VHS and MVM, and the eventual seller of the properties. How is that not a conflict of interest? Moving ownership through multiple corporate entities right before a public meeting and a potential commission vote obscures developer accountability and deprives the public of clear disclosure. So I continued my research and started seeing a pattern, started going through public records and plat maps, and every one of these, so these are a few of them, show the Weekly Brothers, Mr. Vernon Weekly, has a clearly documented connection to multiple subdivisions with his official stamp of engineering approval and ownership partnerships. Okay, so this is the reserve at Hickory Wild, Section 1. This is Farmington, Section SE. That's the water, they're not open spaces. This is Wellington Field, Section 6B. This is Hickory Wild, Section 2D. This is Farmington, Section 5B. Again, Weekly Brothers. This is Beech Grove. This is Woodstock Estates. Woodstock's a heartbreaking example, actually. Flooding is not new. Overdevelopment is not a new issue. This is happening all over our area, and we are honestly exhausted. Exhausted from paying the price for the failures of this system. I've been hearing it's a good old boys club, it's never gonna change, it's just how things are. But the events show this is a documented crisis in our area. If this is the system that's allowing these things to happen, then the system has to change. So I'm asking today, when does accountability matter? When does the disclosure matter? For us, it matters now.
Miss,
because
time's up.
All
Wrap
right.
it up for me, please.
Yes, sir. Because as homeowners, we're footing the bill. We're taking the hits personally, emotionally, physically, and financially. The Public Commission deserves full clarity on who owns, controls, and bears the legal responsibility for the land before any vote is taken place. If you need our money to fix the problems being created, then we need to have the facts presented in a timely and transparent manner. And I still believe that transparency matters, and I still believe that integrity matters, and I hope that you guys will be the voice for us today. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, I have room for one more against S43 2026. Come on up, name and address, please.
Amy Griffin, 145 Chisholm Court. I have informed you through letters of my issues, my own personal issues with drainage on my land. Now I'm standing in front of you, asking you to help protect not only all my neighbors, but the possible incoming neighbors. There is so much water that is accumulating around this area. 2025 proved it. It's got to be fixed. It's got to be fixed before more homes are added and before more people have to foot the bill or HOAs have to foot the bill. I do know that there is a $5.39 million stormwater design that needs to be taken care of before homes are approved. Some homes on this plat are backing up to a basin. What's going to happen when that basin needs to get bigger? What's going to happen to the homeowners? What's going to happen to their land? I can go on. There's some of us that are pushing back on some of this. Yes, we do need extra outlets for if we do have another flood and Dunlop goes, but adding 149 extra houses to the area I don't think that is quite the answer. We have to get the flooding and the storm runoff taken care of first.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, would any of the proponents like to rebut?
Yeah, what we're here today for is the preliminary plat approval, which there's guidelines in the book that we have to go by, and we've met all those guidelines. And so drainage and utility plans are another step that'll come later in the process for designing of the detention ponds and the drainage and all those things. So today we're voting for the preliminary plat. The staff's recommended approval. We've met all the requirements, and we're asking for your vote. And I'd be glad to answer any question.
Mr. Weekly, at least explain, even through the process, that you've got to retain water on
Yes, that's
your
correct.
property.
Which a lot of these detention ponds and ponds is where you see when you drive up and down the road full of water. They're designed to where they hold the water in the open areas and away from the homes. The particular case in Farmington, very unfortunate, was you have to go upstream. The water came from a big basin upstream that overflowed into another basin, had to close down International Boulevard, then they had to close down Dunlop Road. So it was a chain of events that was over beyond any type of design that happened. And this project here is away from that disaster. It's uphill from it, and the consultant for that project has said that this project does not have anything to do with that. And so inside the subdivision itself, yes, detention ponds will be designed, the drainage will be held there until it can drain off, and that's just the process. That'll be the next step in the process.
Any other questions?
Mr. Weekly, can you explain who approves that part after the site plan's done?
After the site plan's done, there's a couple of boards. One's the state for the TDEC portion, and the Montgomery County Building Codes in the county reviews the drainage plans, as well as the county highway department.
So there's 3 separate steps after this site plan to review that drainage plan, and make sure the calculations are correct and everything that was graded out there on site is according to the calculations you made and, or that whoever the civil engineer is made.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Can I say something?
No, ma'am. No. Point of order. 3 people up, 3 people against, 4, and that's all we're doing. Okay? Thank you. No rebuttal. Following the normal format here. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, commissioners, we're going to exit public hearing.
One other point of order I'd like to have. Mr. Tyndall explained if something meets all the criteria from a.
Sure, and I've had several conversations with the citizens in this room and others that aren't here today. We've had, as you can see, tremendous amount of emails on this one. And, you know, while sympathetic to what's happened out there, 2 back-to-back 100-year storms, 11 inches of rain in less than a week, you know, things definitely happened out there in Farmington and the properties to the south and to the west. That's why we went the extra step to talk to the county's project manager with Commonwealth Engineer or Commonwealth Design Group, who's doing the portion of that $5 million study through Farmington. As you saw on your tablets on page 5, there is a area that shows this location, some sinkholes in the area, and then there's a drainage pipe that they will be installing from Farmington out to Rossview Road to the Red River to help further channelize any water that is held up in Farmington out of this area since the underground system did fail during that time. It gives an alternative way to get the water across the surface. So back to the original question, what we're looking at here is, are you compliant with the rules? And the rules we have are the subdivision regulations. And they say when a site plan or a subdivision in this case comes in, we're going to review it. Do the lots meet the rules, the right of way, the curves, the lot yield, the open space? Is everything tied together? Do we have fire hydrants? That's what those rules are going to look at. Then we go through the review process with multiple county and regional and sometimes city departments, gas and water, in this case the highway department in the county, county stormwater, county fire, and others, to say, do you have concerns? Do they meet your regulations? Now, this board has at their disposal what we call a conditional approval, which means we are okay with this concept that you see on the screen today. Staff has reviewed it. It meets the lot yield. The lot sizes are not undersized. The roads meet the regulations for building roads, for curves and stop signs and all that kind of stuff. There are fire hydrants shown at the minimum distances. And then they will work out the final details with gas and water. How large of a water main do you need? Where do the water mains interconnect? Where do they loop back to the system? We don't need to know that at this point. They will work that out with the gas and water department. Same thing with drainage. They are showing a drainage area. They've run preliminary calculations. They will finalize the calculations with the county stormwater division and TDEC. And once they meet or exceed those regulations, and as with every other department, we'll get a letter or an email or a form from them, depending on the organization, that they have met their minimum or exceeded their minimum design guidelines. Once we get all those in, the subdivision can proceed with construction, and then they come back in for a final subdivision approval where we will then approve the final layout of the roads, the lots, and approve them for recordation and then eventual sale and construction. In a nutshell, I mean, that's 180 days of work I just described, but that's what is before you today. The conditions, again, Mr. Parker, we have the 4 conditions listed on this. Approval by the county highway department for road and drainage plans and for the drainage structures within the right-of-way before construction begins on site, and this shall include traffic calming measures within this subdivision. Approval of a grading permit from the Montgomery County Building and Codes Department before final plat approval. Approval of all utility plans with the Office of the Chief Utility Engineer, that would be gas and water in this case. And the development shall construct a roadway connection between the northern and southern termini of John Duke Tyler Boulevard, contingent on Montgomery County acquiring the necessary property interests to facilitate that connection. Those are the 4 conditions, and when they've met those, they could file for final plat approval. Anything else I can answer?
That'll do it. People in Hickory Wild, I'm sorry for the issues that you've had, but this has nothing to do. I know you think it does, but this does not. And so I'm going to make a motion for approval with the 4 conditions mentioned.
Second.
All right, we have a motion for approval, properly made second. Point of order, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, go ahead.
Mr. Tyndall,
I'll get the officer in here if I have to.
Mr. Tyndall, I know you just went through a lot of information regarding it. Everything is legal and met every requirement with the conditions on here, correct?
Yep. Mr. Parker's reviewed
So-
this a lot closer than I have, but yes, the plat as you see it before today meets or exceeds the minimum regulations.
And what happens if it were denied?
In order to deny something as a planning commission, you'd have to find a significant issue with health, safety, or welfare. Staff would point that out if we had that, but we don't believe there's a significant impact to health, safety, or welfare based on the plat that you see in front of you today.
And if we didn't, if we denied it without those?
Could end up in court, but
Okay.
we'd
Thank
work
you.
it out. Yeah.
Well, that I would hope, but
Yeah.
thank you.
All right, we have a motion and a properly made second. Any more discussion?
I would like to address, I did hear a question in the back, who services the fire service for that area? It's Montgomery County Fire Department. We actually have a paid department now that just started in the last year and a half. We do have paid people on staff during the daytime hours, and our volunteers are still helping every day, even during the day, but also manning the night shift as well. So that one is covered. If you have any issues about that, Chief Rios, he's accessible. Reach out to him if you have a concern about the fire coverage in that area.
And Commissioner Smith, the county is building a new fire department in this coverage area as well this year.
Yes, so the the Rossview Road Marcelina project out there, that big development that's several years old now, that project has worked with the county, and we're actually going to have a public safety complex there that will have a mixture of emergency services in that building. It'll be the first of its kind out in the county area.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. S43 2026 passes.
Page 99, Commissioners.
Okay, thank you, Commissioners. Beginning on page 98, I believe, is case number S53. The applicant is River Investments. The name of the subdivision is Residences at the River Club. This is a preliminary plat. The property is located on the intersection of Warfield Boulevard and Rivermont Drive. Approximately 2.7 acres, 7 lots proposed. Current zoning is R1. On page 101, you'll see the aerial overview of the site. And on page 102, you'll see the proposed preliminary plat. I will let you know that the road that's shown is a private road to the rear of these lots. That's where the access is coming from for 5 of those lots. The staff recommendation is for approval, subject to the following 3 conditions. Approval of all utility plans by the city engineer's office. Approval of all grading, drainage, and water quality plans by the city street department to include road and sidewalk improvements as required. And finally, meet CDE requirements per CDE light bands design at full cost to the developer. If there's any questions for the staff, I'll be happy to try and answer those.
All right, seeing no questions, I open up public hearing on S53 2026. Would anyone like to speak in favor? Name and address, please, sir.
Cal McKay, McKay Merchant Company Engineering, 1545 Madison Street. We're the engineers on the property. Mr. Parker explained what we're doing, total 7 lots, using a private road. Subdivision, meets all subdivision zoning criteria. No variance is required. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, sir. Would anyone else like to speak in favor of S53 2026? Seeing none, would anyone like to speak against S53 2026? Come on up, sir. Name and address, please.
My name is Richard Hood. I live at 410 Fabian Place, which is the third house going up Fabian Place. My land backs up to the land that is in question where they want to build these houses. Now, when the original subdivision was built, the builder specifically left that land vacant as a drainage for the subdivision. Consequently, on the north edge of my property, there is a culvert that runs under the street, and there is a drainage ditch that runs down the side of my property and feeds right into the wooded portion of that land. And then, because the subdivision slopes from north to south, it flows on down into the grass area, which is depressed and is basically a catch basin. Several years ago, the city came in and completely rebuilt the drainage ditch and lined it with rock. So the city is now responsible for the fact that a significant amount of the drainage water from the subdivision flows onto that property. I can tell you when it rains, that drainage ditch becomes a raging river. Now, Rivermont is surrounded by the Red River. Fairly frequently, the Red River overflows its banks, and on severe occasions, it will overflow Rivermont Drive, and it will then flow into that grass depression area at the corner of Rivermont and Warfield and fill that. There have been occasions where that overflow has then continued across Warfield, and the city has had to close Warfield. So allowing any type of construction on that land just makes no sense. The original builder of the subdivision, who is unfortunately passed, specifically set that land aside as a catch basin for rainwater. And keep in mind, we don't have any storm drains out there. So I would respectfully request that you not approve this particular plat. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Would anyone else like to speak against S53 2026? Come on up, ma'am. Name and address, please.
I'm a little bit shorter than Richard. My name is Sarah White. I live at 406 Fabian Place. I'm here to echo everything that he has said. We do not have storm drainage. I've been in my house. I'm the second house up on Fabian Place, so these developments would come into abut my backyard. We don't have any drainage. We don't have any sidewalks. We don't have, even our street lights are pretty minimal in the neighborhood. The flooding that exists in that grassland happens every time it severely rains, and it does not have to be multiple days of raining. There is standing water there on a regular basis. And it's my understanding, I've only lived there since 2019, it's my understanding that the water did cross over Rivermont and dump into that basin in that flood of 2010. But this, if they build things there, where will the water go? It's only going to come out into the major, onto Warfield. And of course, you know, that's already a high trafficked area. So you start adding water issues to that, you're going to have accidents, you're going to have more problems that are than what are already there. So I again respectfully ask that you reject these proposed buildings. So thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, I have room for one more if they would like to speak against S53 2026. Anyone? Come on up, sir. Name and address when you get up here.
Hi, my name is Will Barnett, and 409 Rivermont Drive. So I live directly beside lot number 1 that is proposed, and along with my neighbors, I have the same concern with flooding. You know, we do live right on the golf course, and it gets in our yard quite regularly, and right beside or actually running right through our yard, coming down from Fabian. You know, the water drains directly onto our property and then onto the golf course. So we're just concerned, you know, what will happen with the flood waters from the other 2 lots, the lots 1 and 2. So we'd at least like a deferment to better understand how that's going to work.
Thank you, sir. Mr. McKay, would you like to rebut any previous speakers?
I appreciate their comments. That's definitely, we're aware of the drainage patterns in the area, but some of these problem issues that they're having, we'll take note of that and try to work that through the site.
Mr. McKay, the comment from the street department is that you'll get a no rise. Can you just briefly tell the commission? We don't see that too often
That's
here.
That's only if we fill those lots across the street.
And it looks like, I'm looking at the FEMA map, so it is an AE area,
Yes.
right? And
Yes.
you can build in there if you
Yes.
build with appropriate
Yes.
measures for flood areas.
Yeah.
But if you do add fill, you'll have to get a no rise, which means you'll have to find additional compensatory cuts somewhere else to minimize that? or-
Sometimes
Depends how much.
you can do the field without any compensatory cuts, but this is the same part of this land is the same owners as the golf course, so there's plenty of places to get it if that's required.
And that will be handled between the street department and building and codes should you proceed with building homes on those lots?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. All right, we're going to exit public hearing. Commissioners?
Motion for approval with the conditions listed.
Second.
All right, we have a motion for approval, properly made second with the conditions listed. Any discussion? Seeing no one, all those in favor? Any opposed? S53 2026 passes.
All right, commissioners, on to site reviews here. We have a couple site review cases. All items in this portion of the agenda are considered to be routine and non-controversial by the staff of the Regional Planning Commission and may be approved by one motion. However, a member of the audience, commission, or staff may request that an item be removed for separate consideration. Mr. Parker, please read our 7 cases into the record.
Thank you, Mr. Tyndall. Our first case is case number SR 46. The applicant is Greg Gwynn. The name of the site is McAdoo Creek Town Homes. That is multifamily. SR 47, the applicant is Hunter Wynn. The name of the site is Northeast Drive Villas. The proposed use is multifamily. SR 67 is 2026. The applicant is Jeff Bryant from In-N-Out. The name of the site is In-N-Out Burger on Wilma Rudolph Boulevard. That is a proposed restaurant with drive-through. SR 69, the applicant is Todd Morris. The name of the site is Bellamy Lane Business Park. Proposed use is office and warehouse. Case number SR 70, applicant is Jennifer Fisher. The name of the site is Hopscotch Gymnastics. Case number SR 72, applicant is DNS Clarksville LLC. The name of the site is Homewood Suites by Hilton. And finally, SR 73, the applicant is Trey Mitchell. The name of the site is Lot 6, Scoggin Industrial Park. Proposed use, manufacturing warehouse. Thank you, Commissioners.
Mr. Chairman, Sorry, Mr. Chairman, the staff is going to remove number 11 and number 12, SR 46, 2026, Greg Gwynn, McAdoo Creek Townhomes, and SR 47, Hunter Wynn, Northeast Drive Villas. These both have been deferred for additional information from last month, and I think it's appropriate to give you all the updates and have the appropriate public hearings on those. So we're going to remove 11 and 12. Commissioners, anything else you'd like to remove?
13, please.
13, In-N-Out Burger, sure. Anyone else from the public like to discuss any of the additional cases besides number 11, 12, and 13? Yes, ma'am. 14. Bellamy Lane Business Park, sure thing, we'll get that.
Any others?
All right, commissioners, we can vote on items 15, 16, and 17 as part of the consent agenda with the conditions listed. 15, 16, and 17, yep. Just need a motion.
All right, commissioners, we have 15, 16, and 17 on the site reviews for you to.
Motion will pass based on the conditions mentioned.
Second.
All right, we have a motion properly made second. All those in favor? Any opposed? All right, site review consent agenda passes.
Okay, commissioners, case number SR 46, 2026. Again, the applicant is Greg Gwynn. McAdoo Creek Townhomes is the name of the site. The property is located approximately 280 feet south of the intersection of McAdoo Creek Road and Highway 41A South. Property is approximately 5.75 acres. 84 units are proposed, and the current zoning of the property is R4. On page 3, you'll see an email from TDOT with the conceptual approval for right-in, right-out onto Highway 41A South. On page 4, you see the aerial overview of the site. Pages 5 and 6 are the site and landscape plans. On page 7, you'll see a sketch of potential future roadway improvements. Along those lines, I will read the Montgomery County Highway Department latest comments into the record, and it says this should be sufficient to show that final improvements needed in the future based on commercial development will work with the proposed townhomes. On page 8 is the traffic study, and then jumping to page 37 through pages 65 are the public comments and some pictures that have been provided. If there's any questions for the staff, we'll be happy to try and answer those. Otherwise, if the commissioners may need a few minutes for the public comments. Thank you.
Commissioners, I'll give you a few minutes to look over the attachments there.
I have a question for the staff. So now page 7 has roadway improvements with a left-hand turn into the site. Is that correct?
Kind of correct, Commissioner. The note there, road improvements shown are just to understand the room available at the request of the Highway Department. The lanes and widening shown are not required for the townhomes or for the future commercial development. This configuration is intended as an example and has not been required by the traffic analysis or study and should not be considered a design or future requirement. The Highway Department wanted to assure the property owner and themselves that any future possible improvements could be fit, but there are no improvements at this time. This would obviously be revisited if the C5 parcel developed and depending what it developed into. Highway Department's here to answer any other questions on that one.
I'll wait till we get to that point.
Commissioners, y'all ready? All right. We'll open up public hearing on SR 46 2026. Would anyone like to speak in favor? Come on up, sir. Name and address, please.
Larry Riccone, 308 South 2nd Street. Mr. Kimbrough kind of took my thunder when he asked Mr. Tyndall about the rules. We all know it. We've heard it. This is a site review. I'm not going to rehash it now, but if the site plan meets the minimum requirements, if it conforms, you must approve. That's what it says. And that's the rules we operate under. So let's talk about the history on this. Because as it was read into the record right now, as it sits, the R4 is not being withheld. There's nothing prohibiting the site plan from being approved today, right now, as presented. The highway department's here. The highway department's updated their study. It's fine as it is. That's how, as we sit, it meets the minimum criteria, and it must be approved. But let's go back. We submitted it to begin with. And again, everything I've heard earlier, it's really, really works in with this one. First thing we had no issues with traffic. Chief Rios had an issue with some fire availability. We worked with the chief. We redesigned it. We addressed fire availability. We came in here at that point. No real issue with traffic. Everything was good. We were on the consent agenda. Some people spoke. I'm sure they're going to speak again. And it was pulled off the consent agenda. At that point, I'll submit to you it should have been approved. It met the minimum requirement that day. It was deferred, and we acknowledged that, and it was deferred. One question was the traffic study done when school was in session or out of session? The traffic study was done in session, and it was reevaluated. So the traffic study presented at the time it was deferred was while school was in session. But after that, the owner's engineer met with TDOT, and they addressed issues with TDOT. And we were back to everybody being, okay, we're good, we meet the minimum, we're good. And then I guess yesterday, maybe a video got sent from a neighbor, something. We're back to there being a traffic issue. Our engineer's here, he's going to address all of it. Our engineer has personally been out there hand counting traffic as little as 5 days ago. We have done everything that we can do to address these issues. The highway department's had a chance to look at it again and again. No lane additions right now for the R4. But Mr. Weekly will speak to this. He's a traffic expert, I'm not. But that he went 2 times to reevaluate this personally shows we're here and we're committed. But this plan meets the minimum. This plan should be approved today. Historically, when you look at it, everything we've done as we're supposed to do. We've been asked to do. We've shown up and we've done everything that we can do. We've submitted a plan which meets the criteria. We've presented a plan that should be approved. I have my traffic engineer who's going to address you next. I have the property owner who will address you. I'm sure I'll be up here for rebuttal, so I'll leave some of that to address it again. But we're asking you to approve it. We do meet the minimum. We're here to be a good neighbor, but that's what we're asking to do. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, would anyone else like to speak in favor of SR 46 2026? Come on up, sir. Name and address, please.
Howdy, I'm Brad Weekly, work for Weekly Brothers Engineering, 108 Center Point Drive. I'm really up here just to answer any questions that you have on the traffic study. This was evaluated with the R4 exiting out on McAdoo, and it passed with no no warrants. I apologize. Lane improvements were not warranted, and a level of service B exit. So as we move forward, they asked to go towards TDOT. TDOT currently is stating on this arbitrary high intensive use that they want to ride in, ride out. Well, when the commercial comes up in the future, we'll reapply for full access, because I believe one will be granted, but currently we can't say that. To answer your question, you asked me about was it studied during school? It was. The count was during the school. Any other questions?
The original count that I asked from, you're saying the first study y'all sent was done during schools?
Correct, yes,
But
sir.
that was a borrowed traffic study from the other side of the highway, correct?
It was at the intersection.
Okay, at the intersection.
So that is a true count of what's going down in each direction on every road.
The reason it's a little bit different in my opinion is that north side traffic goes to Sango Elementary. The south side of 41A traffic goes to East Montgomery.
Right, so when you do an intersection count, you do all movements. So you have the straight through, so that tells you how many are going McAdoo straight through. You have the right from 41A, that's how many is going McAdoo right from 41A, left from 41A. And there's no turnoff from that intersection point to our location, so that's a true count. If you sat there in front of our spot versus right there at the intersection, you get the same number. There's no area to turn off in between.
And I'm trying to pinpoint, when was this done?
That one was
The intersection I see was done in 2025.
correct. So April 2025.
And then this full report wasn't done until August of 2026.
Correct. So that same school year, at the end of it, the report was done.
August would be the beginning, correct? Or
Well,
just the data in the report was
yes,
from the
correct.
end?
And so since then, there was pictures going around with the backup, and no one wants to have a report out because our job is to take the data, apply the method, and then put out the report. And so immediately seeing those photos, we got, concerned, just like anybody. So I went out there Friday morning, specifically during school hours. So that would be, well, I apologize, Friday afternoon was the first one, 3 to 4 o'clock. Sat there counting traffic, looked for any backup, prepared to write down backup, took video, and never backed out at East Montgomery into the street. Maybe they have a new pull-in system, because as soon as it got to the end, they went into another queuing road. Looking right at the intersection on 41A, never backed up past the little hatched area. So that's still 400 foot from our intersection. There was no issue. Count-wise, it was actually lower than the count used in the study. So it shows that we've got the peak hour count correct.
What day was that on?
That was this past Friday, which was August 21st from, 21st. 3 to 4, I was in the little blue truck out there.
Oh, no, I'm just, because the first report I saw said August 6th.
I don't think there's been any August 6th out there. So April 9th might be what you're thinking of. So there was
Or
also
9th,
a count
maybe.
done at April 9th, which was
The first
after
half
school.
day of school.
No, after school was out. So school, and it was much less of a count. And so it was not used. And it stated that in the report.
Okay.
I also went out there Monday morning because after Friday I thought, well, maybe that's a fluke. So I went out there Monday morning, exact same thing. Took videos, counted traffic, looked upstream, never even got out into the lane. At one point there was one car, you could tell they didn't want to go in the queue, they wanted to try to get in with the front queue, and so it backed up 2 cars. Eventually they went where they were supposed to go, everybody followed. Looked on the exit, looked down there, same thing, didn't back up out of the hatch. This is with pretty intensive traffic. That 15-minute period is intense and didn't come through, just come out. So I don't see any issues going on out there currently. I did look up when those pictures were taken. That's the first day of kindergarten, first full day. I don't know if there's a wreck out there elsewhere causing traffic to come through there, or if it's that many parents on the first full day of school dropping off their babies, waiting a while, causing traffic issues. But as it is right now, the report stands. There's no issue and no lane warrants. So.
That was part of my point. I didn't want it done on the first full day of school or half day because parents don't know which way to turn, left, right, center. They don't know which way they're going.
Correct.
So I just want to make sure we got all the facts available
Correct. Yeah, for Friday of
about
last
this
week.
traffic report. Now,
This traffic report is using the count from last school season. Now it's confirmed Friday and Monday that the counts are correct.
Now, on your preliminary here, y'all had a draft that showed some turn lanes as possible future improvements. Can you tell us what that's
I'm
about?
glad you brought that up because I put that big note on there so that it doesn't look like anybody's trying to trick anybody. We're not showing these as future improvements. We were requested by the highway department. We said, look, there's plenty of room for any future improvements if they're required. You know, who knows what's going to go in that commercial lot, but it could require improvements and there's room out there. And they said, well, let me see the worst case scenario. So that's 2 lanes out on from McAdoo, you know, a full lane, turning lane all the way down McAdoo. And you can see that all that fits in there and that this development doesn't affect that.
Now, one last question.
Yes, sir.
In the TDOT email, it said that there needed to be access guaranteed from that commercial lot into the townhomes. Is that correct?
I don't recall that portion. So it
When they
might be in
approved the
reference
right in,
to-
right out, they said that a right in, right out would be the only thing that they could technically confirm
Right.
at the moment, right? Not a full access at the moment because we don't know the use.
Correct.
But I do believe in that paragraph, it also said there needed to be a guarantee that the main access for that commercial, if it's right in, right out, would have to go through the
Right,
townhomes.
correct. It had to-
Road, how did they state it? Road network, I guess, or road? I don't know how it was stated. I'd have to go back and find my email.
Are you talking about the developer needs to develop internal connectivity, create easements to ensure the corner parcel has access to McAdoo Creek townhomes?
Let me find it.
So that,
It's there, it's listed as a recommendation.
It's just a recommendation?
and the reason for that recommendation is because obviously you have a right in, right out, is what they're saying right now. So as a way to get a left out, you would need to go on to McAdoo. Again, that is future development, and we have room to make any improvements if needed when they're required at that time.
Sorry, I'm trying to find my email so I can read that verbiage
It
again.
is on the 3rd page of that report. I can read it to you if you'd like. Page 3. Says the developer needs to develop internal connectivity, create easements to ensure the corner parcel has access to McAdoo Townhomes roadway network. We would recommend the Planning Commission require these easements to be recorded to ensure the corner parcel does not sell off and not have legal access to the townhome's internal roadway network. That's not listed as a condition because we have an opportunity to take a bite at that apple when we do subdivision process. So if that lot is tried to be subdivided from this, then that could require the easement requirements.
That's correct. This is a 2-acre lot, so it can't be legally cut off without going through the plating process.
All right, just wanted to make sure there was a fail-safe in there from what TDOT said, so that if the commercial developer's like, yeah, I want to run through there, and then whoever owns the townhomes at the time, they're like, hold up, you're not coming through here.
Right.
That there's something in there.
Yeah, the actual process that gets TDOT, they have to comment on a subdivision. So that's the requirement to go to them first so that we know what actions they've required for us to make sure the other items are covered.
Okay. As long as there's a fail-safe. I think that's it. Appreciate all the explanation. Thank
Yeah,
you.
of course. Anybody else? Okay, thank you.
All right, we're still in public hearing here. One more, if they would like to speak in favor, SR 46, 2026. Name and address, please, sir.
Greg Gwynn, 1165 Dunbar Cave Road. First and foremost, I want to thank you all for serving. I know it's not the most gratuitous job that you'll do, so thank you for the service to the community. I've lived here all my life, 66 years, and tried to conduct myself in a manner that would be befitting, benefiting the community. We've tried to do projects that help. Spent most of my time in the scrap metal recycling and garbage business. We've sort of transitioned a little bit. I can assure you, if those lanes need to be in there, if there's a problem traffic-wise, if the data supported it, we'd have no problem doing it. And in the future, when we ask for whatever it is we do on the C5, if that's a requirement that has to happen, we'll do it. But at the end of the day, what we're asking for is the R4. And we're going to do it in a fashion that benefits the community We're trying to do it in a single-family fashion, even though they're townhomes. So we could have put more, but we decided to build something that are nicer going in there, so there would be fewer of them. And as a result, all I would ask is that you consider it fairly, and if you see fit, please vote in favor. And I'll also answer any questions if anybody has them.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right. Would anyone like to speak against SR 46 2026? All right. One at a time, please. Come on up. Name and address.
John Williams, 152 Edmonds Way, the Sheffield Woods subdivision. First of all, I ask that you not approve this development. I've been coming to these meetings since you changed the zoning last fall. And we're getting something we didn't expect, specifically rental apartments. And that was the fallacy of the zoning, is I think that there was probably an understanding of what was going to go in there when they changed the zoning. And we get 3 minutes to talk to you guys about this while they've had 6 months to plan with you. This project will not improve our lives in Sheffield Woods, not improve our property values, and increase the density in people and cars. Now, I know we heard from the expert on traffic, but I just invite any of you all to come out and just give it a go during school, any day of the week. I'll ride with you. I spoke on 23rd of June against this project, and none of the questions I asked have been answered. I also think this is not in accordance with the zoning resolution. If you look at your own zoning resolution, I don't think this meets the tenets of R4. I just think that we need some major infrastructure upgrades, and I've lived in Clarksville a long time too. I was born at Fort Campbell. I spent 30 years in the Army, coming back to Fort Campbell, and we bought our house in Sheffield Woods in 2010, and we just never expected something like this across the street. We do need some major infrastructure upgrades to support a project like this and the unknown business on the corner. And I just don't believe that you can approve this till we know what's going to be on the corner, just because of density. It's already dangerous enough out there. So in the final analysis, I just ask you to take my 3 minutes and support the citizens that already live out there, and and trying to use our 3 minutes in good faith. And I just know that do it. And one last thing, I just thought it was interesting. Our election this month, there were 33 candidates on the ballot, and 14 ran unopposed. We just got a problem with our democracy also in that. We all need to get out and vote. And I wish we had something where citizens could get more involved in this process before we come in here and run up against you guys. And you guys have been talking, and we didn't know anything about this. So thank you all very much, and I know you're going to do the right thing. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right. Would anyone else like to speak against? Yes, ma'am. Come on up. Name and address, please.
I'm Annie. Good afternoon. I'm Annie White Holland, and my address is 131 Weymouth Court, which is in Sheffield Woods. And I have questions. The gentleman is saying that there was no traffic problem, and I've been out there for 22 years. There is a traffic problem. And just imagine if on the opposite side of the street you put in the neighborhood of 80 to 84 apartments, that traffic has to have somewhere to go. The front of the Ironworks property is on 41A. If they try to use that as an exit, everybody must be going to go right, because there are 5.5, sometimes 6 lanes going right across there. So trying to get over to the lane that will be coming into Clarksville, not happening. Many parents in Sheffield Woods are now walking their children to school. When the weather changes, they will be driving them. Yesterday, I was trying to come out of the subdivision around 8 o'clock in the morning, and there were plenty cars. And there are many times when we have to sit unless somebody is kind enough to leave a gap. And this is before putting in all these apartments. And if they come out onto McAdoo Creek Road from the apartment place, if they're trying to go left, they're gonna have a problem. Going right, it's gonna be smooth sailing. But for Sheffield Woods, it's not gonna be smooth sailing. And I just would like, for the real reason that we're not getting the details, because we have no reason to lie, we live it. I'm a retired educator. I'm all for the children, but we haven't thought about how many additional children will be coming from the area once these apartments are built. That's more traffic, more children. There is no sidewalk on that side of the street. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, room for one more against on SR 46, 2026. Yes, sir, come on up. Name and address, please,
Roger
sir.
Bustler, 172 Edmonds Way, Sheffield Woods subdivision. I have a question for starters on TDOT and the access on 41A. Is that a done deal, or would you clarify that for me? We're a little bit concerned about access to the townhomes being shared with the commercial property, or is that?
What's before us today is the townhomes only with the 2.2 acre corner not developed yet, the C5 as they said. We made them go to TDOT to see would they let them have a driveway on 41A, and at this point they said depending what the C5 develops at the worst case scenario we would allow a right in and right out only on 41A. If they back that down, they may allow them to have a full access left and right into the property. So as of right now, the access to this would be off McAdoo Creek for the townhomes only. At any future development, there could be an additional driveway on McAdoo or I should say 41A.
I see, thank you. But I want to just speak to the traffic, and there's traffic study, there are photographs of the traffic. Bottom line is we have the luxury of being retired and can time our entrance and exit to the subdivision. I try to get out before 8 in the morning or after 9, or try to avoid school traffic altogether coming into the subdivision when school is let out in the afternoon. So there is definitely a problem with the traffic. So just wanted to go on record, go on record with that. And we, of course, are not happy with the situation. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. All right, would any of the proponents like to rebut? Mr. Riccone? Okay. All right, we're going to exit public hearing. Commissioners?
I got a couple more questions. Jeffrey, please. You all have reviewed this, and then it's kind of a two-part question. First will be for the staff. When this goes before the plans with the conditions listed, are they going to apply to TDOT now or not until the commercial goes in for an access onto 41A?
TDOT seemed pretty adamant that they would not grant anything until a full site plan for the commercial. So that would have to come later whenever a site plan goes for that corner property.
At that point, our highway department would review that plan and require the intersection improvements.
If the traffic study warrants it.
If the traffic study warrants it. We had a comment in our packet that initially said provide a left into the property from McAdoo based off residential and commercial traffic, add an additional left turn lane from McAdoo Creek onto 41A so that there are two left turn movements, a through movement and a right-hand turn movement at the signalized intersection. But that's been struck through as of, it says a date 8/24/2026. So where did that comment come from?
I'm not sure what you're looking at.
It's our review packet that the commissioners get.
I believe that's a comment that was received, but then I think that there was further review from the highway department, but I'll have to defer to them.
I don't know what you're looking at to be able to answer to that question.
I can show you. So every packet shows the department comments. And under your department, originally it had shift access along creek to south outside of the lane tapers. And it says to address that. And then it has the comment I just read with a line through it. And then it has another comment that says this should be sufficient to show that any improvements needed in the future based on the commercial development will work with the proposed townhouses. So I'm wondering, was that?
That comment was attached with in an email that was provided by the engineer showing that those improvements could be met in the future with the commercial development.
So it wasn't from your office, it was from there?
No, that comment was from us, but it was in response to the drawing that was sent to us this afternoon.
I can answer
The page 7 drawing?
Yes, so the original drawing did not have the improvement shown.
Correct.
The traffic study, correct me, the traffic study says that if the commercial warrants it, then they would have to make those improvements. So in order to do the advanced planning, I believe it was mentioned in the first meeting that I was here, you wanted to make sure that the buildings were in a location that didn't infringe upon any future plan for commercial. So Mr. Bryant made the comment to show that on the plan. The engineer then showed that information, and after a couple of comments adjusting where the driveways and the throat and the radius, it verified that these improvements could be made. And because they're not required as part of this plan, it's more about information that he needed in order to make the confirm that those improvements could be accommodated in the future if warranted. So.
And you should, I believe you have that plan that shows those
I do. It's on page
potential
7.
improvements.
The potential improvements with a
Yes.
little box around it over there.
Correct.
I was just wondering where that comment came from.
The first plan did not have that.
plan.
Yeah.
Because I glanced at it and I thought maybe the highway department glanced at it and did the same thing I did and said, well, if that works, why do we not provide those conditions? But it's because your engineer says the traffic impact study meets what they've provided? Is that correct?
The traffic study that was done is for the townhomes. With the condition that, or the assumption that there would be a full access on 41A. That full access has been taken off by TDOT, so we had to go back. They didn't have time to do a full traffic study. So we said, let's assume worst case scenario, show me those improvements and that it will fit within the constraints that you have with the townhomes in place. We didn't want to just assume that they could do it, and then the commercial comes, and now there's widening that encroaches into the townhomes, and we're constricted into what improvements we could do. So we wanted to make sure that those improvements could be done in the future when the commercial comes online, if the traffic study warrants it.
Now, are those improvements, does that require us to, as a county, purchase the right-of-way from?
No, that would be on the developer.
So it would be on the developer when the commercial goes?
Correct.
Okay. Keep that one in the back of my head for whenever that commercial develops so that we can see what access is given. All right, and then I had a question, I think one more, maybe for you, but I can't remember. I was still looking at all these comments. There were quite a few of them. And then the comment y'all had, shift access along McAdoo Creek to the south outside of the lane tapers. Is that in that plan?
That's the access that's shown in the plans currently.
In the original plan, right?
Yes, I believe I think that was a response to the original plan, and now it's been shifted as shown.
Okay.
Yeah, it says, I think it should say addressed, but it says address. So.
Okay.
To comment out beside it. The staff report's kind of a working document for our planners, so they track what comments come in and then make sure the items have been met to the satisfaction. So
the downfall of us as commissioners on here is all we see is that it says addressed. I don't see how it was addressed.
The drive was shifted.
I get that. I'm talking about for the staff to
you don't see all the
let us
variations of the other
know how it was addressed, because all we see is just the word. We don't see what happened to make it be addressed. All right, that's all of my grilling for today. Thank you, Jeff.
Anybody else? I'm having fun.
Anybody? Thank you, sir.
Also, I'm not the Jeff Bryant related to the In-N-Out Burger. All right.
All right, commissioners, we're out of public hearing.
I do have one question too. It's showing sidewalks at least through the end of the property. Is that correct? To where, from what I'm, to where Mr. Roberts' property starts? Am I looking at that correctly?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
And connecting into sidewalks that are already in place on 41A, or will continue on around that commercial?
The sidewalks on 41A would be in conjunction with any additional development. So it's just on McAdoo's side of the road right now.
Okay,
For the
even
length-
though
for the
it's
length of the
showing it
property.
radiusing on out and going to the end of the property, going east on 41A.
They're showing it, so they're showing it on the other version too.
Mhm.
All right, so they're doing it, right now, they're gonna do both sections the full way. Yep.
Already shown, one more time, I'm dumb, so I want to hear that one more time, right?
From end to end of both 41A and McAdoo Creek, they're showing a sidewalk to be installed.
Thank you.
To be installed. There's none out there right now. To be installed by the development, let me be clear.
I've got one last question. Sorry, Jeff. It's for you. I know. Does the county currently have any plans to upgrade McAdoo Creek in the next 5 years?
No, sir.
Okay. Also, can I get with you soon about adding maybe an extra pulling lane on East Montgomery Elementary, or work with the school system to try to figure out a better way for it to pull up inside of the parking lot on the property?
There's already been conversations with the school system on that, and it's just whenever they get the funds for those improvements.
So next budget cycle.
You make those decisions, not me.
Exactly. So we'll talk with the school system. I'd like to have a meeting with you and whoever you're talking to over there, try to get that maybe in next year's budget.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you.
One thing, Jeff, if I'm not mistaken, the school systems already did a new routing system this year, is that correct? Didn't they do new staging in the site?
I'm not sure.
Okay, he wasn't responsible for that.
Yeah.
I believe they've done,
Okay.
some information was shared that they did some rerouting potentially on the site, so maybe that's helped a little bit, but I don't use that school.
Sounds good. Joe, you sure?
Thanks again. All right, commissioners. No, man, I gotta stick with the rules here. If I bend them for you, then I gotta bend them for everybody, and we'd be here all night. Thank you, ma'am. Okay, point of order, please. Point of order, please. Thank you.
I make a motion for approval.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and properly made second on SR 46, 2026. Any more discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? All right, SR 46, 2026 passes.
Okay, commissioners, case number SR 47 is the next site review on the agenda. The applicant is Hunter Wynn. The name of the site is Northeast Drives Villa. It is proposed as a multifamily development. Property is located south of Northfield Drive, adjacent to and east of the terminus of Northeast Drive. 92 units are proposed. It's currently zoned R4. Page 69, you'll see the aerial overview. On pages 70 and 71, you'll see the site and landscape plans. Page 72, you've got the most recent letter from HydroWise, who I believe was here at the meeting last month. They indicate that their drainage comments have been addressed. Page 83 is the beginning of the drainage calculations, and public comments go from pages 176 to pages 290. That includes comments and pictures provided from the public. The staff recommendation is for approval, subject to the two conditions listed. Approval of all grading, drainage, and water quality plans by the city street department to include road and sidewalk improvements as required, and approval of all utility plans by the city engineer's office or utility district official. If there's any questions for the staff, I'll be happy to try and answer those. Thank you.
All right, seeing no questions, I'll go ahead and open up public hearing on, go ahead, sorry, sir.
And I'm gonna remember to push the button too. Did you say that the engineer for the HOA had assessed and, what was your wording again?
Yes, sir. They have addressed their comments. That is correct.
Addressed and
Satisfy,
concurred?
yeah. Yes, the current plan has addressed the comments that were brought up at last month's meeting.
Okay,
Yes,
thank
sir.
you.
Yeah, Commissioner Kimbrough, if you look at page 72 and the next couple pages afterward, that is a response received from HydroWise that's basically says in green where they've met the different questions that were brought up the month before. And then there was another one after that dated August 14th as well that goes over the very final conditions. And we've had some phone calls as well with Mr. Lance Oldorf. Because he had been retained beyond that. And I know Mr. Weekly will probably speak. They've also had conversations offline working this out, and we can get the final determination from the street department. But everything at this point seems to meet or exceed the stormwater regulations for this project.
All right, we're going to open up public hearing now. Would anyone like to speak in favor of SR 47, 2026?
Commissioners, Vernon Weekly, 108 Center Point Drive. Yes, here's another one. We took another month. We got some more work done on this project. The project has met staff and minimum requirements for 2 or 3 months now, but we've agreed to go farther, and the drainage plan was approved by the street department, and then also HydroWise, the guy that spoke last month and had some questions. We answered those questions, and his letter also says that our plans comply with the stormwater, Montgomery County, Clarksville stormwater maintenance. So everybody's in agreement that the grading and drainage plans meet the requirements. We've already met y'all's requirements, and so I guess I'm just asking for your vote on another one that complies with the whole requirements. Be glad to answer any questions.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, would anyone else like to speak in favor of SR 47, 2026? Would anyone like to speak against SR 47, 2026? All right, we're going to exit public hearing. Commissioners?
Mr. Weekly, I just want to say thank you to you for taking the time to remove that other building and actually go above and beyond the drainage on this project than what was required. I wasn't able to be here last month, but I did watch it online, and I really appreciate y'all already going through that process. So I'll make a motion for approval with the conditions listed.
Second.
All right, we have a motion properly made second. Any more discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? SR 47, 2026 passes.
Okay, Commissioners, our next case is case number SR 67, 2026. Applicant is Jeff Bryant from In-N-Out. The name of the site is In-N-Out Burger on Wilma Rudolph. It is a proposed use of restaurant with drive-through located southeast of and adjacent to the intersection of Wilma Rudolph Boulevard, approximately 2.22 acres. Square footage is 3,890 feet. 890 feet. Zoning is C4. On page 294, you'll see the aerial overview of the site. On pages 295 through 305 are the site and landscape and a few other detailed pages. On page 306 is the beginning of the traffic impact study. And then beginning on pages 398 through 403 are some public comments received. The staff recommendation is for approval subject to the conditions listed. And if there's any questions for the staff, I'll be happy to try and answer those.
All right, seeing no questions for staff, I'm going to open up the public hearing on SR 67, 2026. Would anyone like to speak in favor? Come on up, sir. Name and address, please.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Jeff Bryant of In-N-Out Burger, not with County Traffic Commission. My address is 3401 Mallory Lane, Franklin, Tennessee. I'm here as the applicant representing In-N-Out Burger, and I'm available with any questions.
Questions?
Mine's more in reference to at the Regional Planning Commission informal meeting the other day. I referenced wanting to add a condition that would allow, should the gas station that's located right there redevelop at some point in time, not asking for it now, but should they redevelop at some point in time, asking that they allow that connection be allowed directly to that entrance point there so that it's not creating multiple entrances or continuing multiple entrances down the road. Again, just for future planning purposes. I know that you talked about the topography there, but this wouldn't be something where your company would be building it. I just want to ensure that the access would be allowed for them to connect to that.
Yeah, and we've looked into this a little bit further. I think from our perspective, we're less comfortable with it. You know, we always try and help improve the neighborhoods, the areas. Increased connectivity is great, but as you look at the site plan, the access would be at the south side of the gas station from what it looks like. And so that only gives about 2 or 3 cars that are coming into the common drive aisle going down the middle. So we would be concerned that there's a left in to access the gas station, and if there's more traffic that's coming, there's 2 other users besides In-N-Out. So as cars are leaving to get back out onto Holiday, that steady stream could lead to a backup, and any more than 2 or 3 cars trying to make that left turn are going to back up into Holiday.
I understand completely, and for that, I'll probably be recommending a deferral so that it can be relooked at for how this can be better planned for the future. So, thank you.
Anybody else have any more questions for Jeff Bryan of In-N-Out?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you, sir. All right, would anyone else like to speak in favor of SR 67, 2026? All right, would anyone like to speak against SR 67, 2026? Come on up, sir. Name and address when you get up here, please.
My name's Derek Shepard. I live at 3375 Heatherwood Trace. I've been before this commission before about the housing behind Chick-fil-A, and I want to give a shout out to the street department. They have been working with me, and it is better. However, as Mr. Bryan said, that can lead a delay. There's a fire station right there, and there's a safety issue. We have a one in, one out access point for where we live. I have seen the fire truck where it's been backed up, traffic from Wilma Rudolph, at least all the way down past the gas station, and the fire truck has had to go into the southbound lane to pass traffic, and then hit Wilma and make a left or right turn. And so this here is just can be an issue. I see where on slide 9 they're trying to do an access, give a turning lane, but it's not going to be long enough. I have literally had to go, let me see, where if you think about where the old police station is, it's a turn there, and I've turned there, go around, and then come out the sideway to get into my driveway get into where I live because there's so much traffic backed up. I'm not pro-business. I'm not anti-business. I'm pro-business, but please think about us back there. I know at this point in time, y'all are at a difficult situation. Pretty much it's sold. People come here all the time. It's like, well, if you don't give it to us, we're going to sue. And that goes against the very mission of transparency for the RPC. Things are done about time it reaches here. The only way I knew about it was through Clarksville Now. They said, hey, it's getting tore down and sold. I can understand the fact that I don't want nobody knowing what I'm doing with my property before I do it, but these are corporate citizens that's going to impact people all around us. And we got to have a better transparency system than what's going on right now. We got to. This is just ridiculous. And y'all are not in a position to do anything, but we got to do something better. There should not be a last minute, like, here you go, and then come here, and then it get approved or deferred. So please, please, please defer this. Work with the street commission, work with In-N-Out, and just have it where it's better traffic. Because I'm thinking long term, when Costco come in, that's going to be a totally different beast. And we are going to get screwed back there. Plain and simple. questions.
Thank you, sir. All right, would anyone else like to speak against SR 67, 2026? Come on up, ma'am. Name and address, please.
I'm Alana Porter. I am at 3408 Heatherwood Trace, my neighbor here. I'm piggybacking a lot off of what he has already said. We have one entrance and one exit into our neighborhood, and it is a huge safety concern that we will not be able to get emergency services back into our area in a timely manner. We did have a neighbor that their home burnt down. Unfortunately, those things do happen, so I think that public safety and the resident safety need to be taken into concern. My California heart is jumping for joy at In-N-Out. However, put it at exit 8, put it at exit 11. If you build it, they will come. Exit 4 is just not it. So, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, I have room for one more to speak against SR 67, 2026. Come on up, sir.
Afternoon, or good evening. Otis Khan, 3344 Heatherwood Trace. I couldn't have put it more eloquently than my neighbor here, literally right down the street, both of them. To add on to what Council Lady Streetman said, when it comes to the traffic in this area, we live off of Kennedy Road. Basically it's a frontage road, and it dead ends. Another one of our neighborhood residents owns the property at the end of Kennedy Road, and they wanted to put a nursery up. The nursery was not approved, but a lot of other things were. The transparency, as it was stated earlier, when it comes to what's taking place, I've watched or seen the plat review for the new Costco, and it's not just the Costco. Bordering that of Governor Square Mall, they're looking at putting in 300 apartment units along with other stores. You're looking at frontage roads along that of which now is Tenova, and it's going to make Ted Crozier a nightmare. I take two of my youngest to speech therapy over in that area of the business district off of Athletic Drive, and coming back, and their appointment's at 8:30 in the morning, and coming back, traffic can be backed up past the fire station. And you have people who are trying to turn to get on either Wilma Rudolph to go towards Guthrie or get on 24. Coming out of Kennedy onto Westfield, I work in Nashville, I'm an entertainer in music. It's a nightmare. I've spoken with a bunch of the hotel managers and owners. Some of them are gonna block the access routes because their businesses are not a part of any public easement for folks to be able to come in and come around. Now, I know the street department went in and did something at the end of Westfield where they did a little roundabout. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, that was a waste of time. That was a waste of time. It takes 35 to 45 minutes sometimes for me to get into my house, to access the road to get to my house. And I live on a dead-end road. During the construction of the hotel, I watched trucks bringing in equipment for the build of the hotel block traffic as they used forklifts to unload the contents that they needed, while you had school buses, which the kids in the neighborhood who ride the school bus are already late due to a lack of drivers. I've seen ambulances as well as fire trucks held up because of ongoing either construction or an impeding of traffic that accesses this area. This is a huge choke point. And Wilma Rudolph is 6 lanes. So what you have where we are coming off of Kennedy, right there in front of Chick-fil-A, if you want to make a left-hand turn, forget it. That's why, of course, the roundabout was put in. But if traffic is backed up for people that don't adhere to the no right turn on red, because there's not a turn lane right there. So I know that City of Clarksville as well as TDOT is going to have to get in and, do some things when it comes to the road. But I ask, as well as my neighbors, that you defer that or just simply deny it. As the gentleman stated earlier, let's be good neighbors here. Fiduciary duties of care, Regional Planning Commission is not just to approve the
Wrap it
bare
up, sir.
minimum.
Wrap it up.
Understood, but your job is not to approve just that of the bare minimum. It's also to ensure that the ongoing community that's there is not adversely impacted just because somebody has issues or prospects to bring in a Whataburger or whatever you call it. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you, sir. All right, Mr. Bryan, would you like to rebut any of the comments?
All right, first up, I hear everyone on the traffic issues. We've gone through and done extensive traffic studies and analysis. We've worked with the streets department to go through and scope that. We've had multiple conversations with TDEC as well. We understand that there are some existing issues, and part of what we're doing is proposing to close off an existing access that's closer to Wilma Rudolph that is potential to create more issues. So you can see at the top of the site plan we have there, that's all landscaping, and that was a previous access point. So I can't speak to neighboring businesses and other companies, how they operate, but what I can do is talk about how we handle traffic and what we do. And it's very important to us. We are unique in the QSR industry with the number of customers we have, the incredible following, and the amazing customers. And so it starts from us in the very beginning with our site planning and our design. You can see our drive-through entrance is at the very back of the property, as far away from the access points as possible. If there's periods of peak demand where we have, a football game that lets out or other events where we have higher demand, we're easily able to accommodate not only within our site, but the common drive aisle. You'll see that's a 36-foot shared access drive aisle. There's 2 additional businesses that are looking to go in as part of this development further on, later within potentially a year or more after we first develop, so that we refer to it as a honeymoon period, periods of high traffic and demand and excitement and enthusiasm. We'll be able to have additional parking and overstacking for our customers over there to not impact the community. But long term, if there is a temporary condition, that 36-foot drive aisle going down the middle would allow us to not only temporarily stack in that area, but maintain circulation for EMS as well as the neighboring businesses to the south. So from our perspective, we've done absolutely everything we can to mitigate and control traffic. The traffic study shows as well that our development, including adding an additional dedicated right turn lane, actually improves the traffic flow, it improves the timing and otherwise.
Yes, ma'am, go ahead.
I can understand their concerns, especially you all are concerned about allowing somebody to make a left turn in here. Well, the road that you're connected to has got even more traffic on it. So if you're concerned about people making a left turn right here after they're already on that access point, I can certainly understand why they would be concerned about people making left turns on a much busier road. So I mean, for me, if it's not safe to make a left turn once you're already onto this property, I don't see how it could possibly be safe to make a left turn from Ted Crozier, I think of it as Ted Crozier, but from Holiday Drive onto your access point. Yeah. Also, with you mentioning there's quite a bit of future development, I have concerns with that as well, is that we don't know what effect this is going to have. And what may actually be necessary for the connection there. And Mr. Tyndall, I guess I would have a question for you. I know in the past we have deferred or denied plans because we didn't have all the information necessary in order to be able to make a decision on it. With so much being listed here as future development, would that not fall under the same classification?
I believe this traffic study that they produced, and Mr. Bryant here can, in and out, Jeff Bryant, can explain. I believe they've taken in the Costco and all the other surrounding potential development into their traffic study for this project.
Oh, no, I'm talking about on theirs. Their plan here. I'm not talking about the others.
Okay.
I'm talking about specifically right here where theirs is, and he referenced there would be more things coming. I'm looking right here, and it says future development, future development. I mean, there's a lot on their plan that's saying future development, and I'm not sure how we can make a true decision without having all the information there for us. Like I said, I recall another plan that was actually denied because it didn't have all the pertinent information on there.
First of all, did your traffic study take into account the 2 other pads, even though they're not spoken for yet?
Yes.
Thank you.
There's a full site review of it.
And similar to 2 cases before, 2 cases before this, we're asked to look at half the site today, and the rest will come through the Planning Commission as they continue to develop in their time frame. If you're not comfortable with the information, by all means, ask some questions, ask for a deferral to get the information you need. I believe this applicant has worked with the street department and the Planning Commission staff to get to a point where they originally had a right turn out, and we're utilizing that driveway. We've got them to at least close that off and push all the traffic, which is approximately 350 feet away from Wilma Rudolph Boulevard at that proposed access point.
Well, I appreciate you referencing the one from a few moments ago, because one of the things that the Montgomery County Highway Department actually had them do was look at it to where that improvements could still be made beyond what was brought forward to us based on what could end up going into that C5. So that would be a difference for me in using that as an example there. But thank you.
And just to speak to the additional users, there are discussions in place already, and so the traffic study does take into account restaurants, businesses, or otherwise, and all of their traffic is scoped out appropriately.
Any other questions for Ms. Bryant?
I do have a question. You talked about stacking, and I'm not fully understanding what you mean by stacking going into the business. I'm sure you're talking about the drive-through. So
Yep.
what does stacking mean? Does that mean 4 lanes pulled off the road? Does that mean people are going to put in the queue? Do you have, like the McDonald's has 4 unbelievable, don't know how to work it, drive-through? Is that what you're talking about? Because I'm trying to understand.
So our particular site plan, and I'm not sure if you have a better zoomed in version of that, but we have a partial bypass lane about halfway down the north end. And so from our business, we start with a double queue, and then we consolidate and bring everyone down into our menu board at car number 10, and then we have a single lane over there. So in case of emergency, our customers can pull out into the bypass lane to circulate the site and exit. Other than that, we have queuing capacity for 30 cars in our drive-through lane, which is one of the largest that we have. Our typical average across the U.S. is between 26 and 27. So with 30 cars available, that is on the larger end. Our typical parking counts, we're comfortable with about 50 to 55 is our typical average. We have 74 on site over here. So we're well overparked, we're overstacked. Now, if there's periods of high demand or otherwise, and we do need to look at alternative stacking plans, we could continue the drive-through lane south and then around the corner into that common drive aisle. And because it's 36 feet wide, we could temporarily use signage, delineators, or otherwise just to mitigate those periods. But generally, our queuing studies, our queuing analysis, and our anticipated customer load, 30 in the drive-through maintained on-site in the dedicated lane would be sufficient.
What is your average in and out, no pun intended, of an order coming in and an order getting packed and an order moving out?
Yeah, so we typically process customers in the drive-through lane. We have more and better data for that because it's a more efficient process than people who may sit inside the restaurant and enjoy their meals. Typically about 30 seconds apiece. There's a lot of operational components, and I can talk a lot about what we do. I know it's been a long day so far. I don't mind. But one of the main things is our kitchens have 3 different grills. 2 of them are active 100% of the time. We have a ton of cameras that are on site that are actively watching both our parking lot and our drive-through lane, and those are visible in the manager's office, above the grills, and other areas within the kitchen. So as soon as we have cars that pass by our menu board at car number 10 and we get to car 12 or 13, we deploy an associate with a handheld. As soon as we deploy that associate or within 1 or 2 additional cars, not even halfway down our drive-through lane, we activate a 3rd grill. And so that 3rd grill is predominantly used for processing drive-through orders. So it's a little bit counterintuitive, but oftentimes if there's 15 cars in the drive-through lane, you may get through faster than if there's 12, just because of that 3rd grill. So that gives us an ability to move a lot more cars a lot faster.
And one of the things you said, if there was a need to move the traffic, how would you be able to get on site to get that traffic to stop going?
Yeah,
Because I mean, outside of having incredible help, how would you stop traffic and get them to go around?
So all of our associates are capable of managing traffic. It's a big part of what we do because there are instances where a football game lets out and all of a sudden a lot of customers come, or just certain periods, events or otherwise. And so all of our restaurants have delineators, we have additional signage, we have cones and things that we can deploy. And as soon as we have cars, even 30 cars to fill up the queue, we have at least 2 to 3 associates who are in the parking lot helping to manage. So they would have an active brake maintaining the access to be able to get into the site and bring customers forward as needed through there, and then maintaining and putting them in lines elsewhere.
Now, and thank you for hearing me. I didn't know my microphone wasn't on. So even and if we do a defer, please understand that that would be because we want to make sure that we're listening to what the clients say, that our constituents say. But in order for us to really get a real impact, if you can ever send us a video of what that looks like when you guys are moving traffic through quickly, we'd like to see that. I'm impressed with the fact that you said from ordering to by the time they get the food is 30 seconds. That is fast, but also know that when Clarksville decides they want to try a thing, it can become a big deal. And so you think you understand traffic until you dealt with Clarksville wanting a new something. So we really have to be mindful of that.
Absolutely, and I understand, and that's certainly in the back of our minds, which is why part of this development, it's important for us to have a stopgap. And so when we develop, at least half of the development to the south, if not all of it, is going to be available for our use for additional associate parking once we open up.
Okay.
And that'll be on an open-ended contract. So we'll have additional support resources, a third-party traffic control company that we bring in strictly for our openings on open-ended contracts until we are comfortable that things have died down to a normal level. Then we'll have those available and the resources, and we'll have the overstacking.
Thank you.
Yeah, not a problem.
Piggybacking on what Councilperson Streetman said, I would really like to see a connectivity to the gas station. There are other burger restaurants, not as awesome as In-N-Out, that are connected to whatever business is next to them. I don't think that we should make any exceptions in this case either, because we would be setting a horrible precedence.
Yeah, I think from our side, it's really difficult to set an access point at this point in time without knowing what the future development is going to look like and impacting or limiting that development. But we do have shared access agreements that are given to the 2 properties to the south once this is fully parceled. And so we would certainly be open to looking at and addressing that. Right now, that gas station sits about 4.5 to 5 feet more in a few areas above the hotel that's existing there currently. So one of the items that came up in the informal meeting is there's huge grade differences. And so if the street, it's currently going down, I'm not sure on the percentage, but 3 to 4 feet by the time it gets to the end of the gas station property line. And so that's a huge, steep, unsafe grade for a business to make a connection to. It wouldn't be feasible at this point in time. So depending on how that building lays out, depending on what their access points are, I wouldn't say we're opposed to giving them access. My initial concern is I would have to look at the streets department to see how close of proximity an access point on that gas station would be able to make, getting into the shared access aisle, and how close it would get to Holiday Drive. But like I said, we're open, we're willing to have those conversations, but at this point, the gas station has no intent to sell. We have been in communication with them. We can't control the development of a neighbor that may or may not happen at some point, but we would be as supportive as possible. And I think alternatively, if we needed to have that access point, I mean, we have all the landscaping to the north. There is an existing easement access. We could leave that access, or it could be used in the future to reconnect back up to Holiday. That would be dedicated just for the gas station.
So what I'm hearing is it's not so much as no, it's just no to the gas station as it sits right now.
It's difficult for us because we foresee some issues and problems with as it's designed and as it's oriented at this point. Okay. In the future, if they drop their access point, their whole site down a couple of feet, depending on how the final engineering works, that might make it more functional. But I think there are additional opportunities to Again, we can leave the existing access point. We don't think it's as safe of a movement to be up top, but there are other options. You know, like I said, we are removing that existing access, trying to make this a safer area, better connected.
To be clear, I'm not asking for them to have a different access. I'm not asking for them to do something tomorrow. I'm not asking for them to have that access up there, so, because that's, I mean, that doesn't make sense at all. All I'm asking for is, and if we can do it without their permission, I'm okay with that too. I want to require connectivity that, should that ever be developed, that they are able to connect back and not be required to connect up at the top where it would be a much more dangerous connection. You've already got an access point there. It's the Regional Planning Commission. I'm kind of just trying to focus in on that planning part. That's all I'm looking for.
Any other questions for Mr. Bryant? Thank you, sir. Yes, ma'am.
I make a motion that we defer this for 1 month in order to be able to better look at how this could go about being done to allow for future planning for a connection for the property that's located right there where the gas station currently sits.
I second.
All right, we have a motion for a 30-day deferral, properly second. Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. One opposed.
Yes.
All right. SR 67, 2026 is deferred for 30 days, sir.
Okay, case number SR 69, 2026 is next on the agenda. The applicant is Todd Morris. The name of the site is Bellamy Lane Business Park. The proposed use is office and warehouse. The current address is 405 Bellamy Lane. It's approximately 2.87 acres, 21,000 square feet, and the zoning is C5. On page 406, you'll see the aerial overview of the site. Following on page 407 and 408 are the site and landscape plans. Staff recommendation is for approval, subject to the 4 conditions listed. And if there's any questions for the staff, I'll be happy to try and answer those.
All right, seeing nobody with questions on this one, we'll open up the public hearing. SR 69, 2026. Would anyone like to speak in favor?
Good evening. I'm Desiree Hawkins, McKay Birch and Company, 1545 Madison Street. This site plan meets all of the minimum requirements. All the site's stormwater drains to the east to a sinkhole that's closer towards Warfield. So not sure what the concern is, but if you guys have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer them for you.
Questions? Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, thanks.
Would anyone else like to speak in favor of SR 69, 2026? All right, would anyone like to speak against SR 69, 2026? Come on up, ma'am.
I'm Barbara Brown Beeman. I live at 403 Bellamy Lane, and I'm not really opposed to the site, except in the site plan it talks about how they're going to plant all these trees. Already there are a number of trees that are on their side of the property line, and I'm wondering why they can't just work with some of those. It would make a great deal of difference in heat mitigation, actually, in the summertime, to keep those ancient trees there. Maybe take out some of the little trees, but instead of just mowing them down and planting new trees.
You guys got anything on the trees?
Yeah, I mean, I'll ask Desiree to come back up for a rebuttal, but as it appears, they're going to be doing some significant grading on the site to kind of level it out. Because as you know,
I know what
it's
the
on a
site is
slope.
like. Trust me.
So when they're grading the site, it's very difficult to preserve trees when you're grading it.
Well, they're right on the property line.
Mm-hmm. Well, we can ask the engineer what they can do to utilize the existing trees.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Would anyone else like to speak against SR 69, 2026? All right, seeing no one, would you like to rebut related to the trees?
Yes, we're aware that there's aggressive topography on the site. So we're going to do our best to try to meet the ordinance with the required landscaping and try not to disturb anything that we can on this site. So, you guys got any questions?
Yeah, we don't have a tree preservation ordinance at this time, so we just ask you to use what's out there if you can. I recognize and I see the grading that you're doing, but if it's possible.
Yeah, of course. We'll keep that in mind when we submit. Yes.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
All right, we're going to exit public hearing now, commissioners.
Motion to approve with the conditions listed.
Second.
All right, we got a motion properly made second on SR 69, 2026. Any more discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, SR 69, 2026 passes.
All right, I think that concludes the site plans. All right, we'll go on to other business and then hang around for a second after other business. First item up is the monthly profit and loss statement through July, and I'll answer any questions or appreciate an approval.
Motion to approve profit and loss.
All right, we got a motion for approval and a properly made second on the P&L. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, P&L is approved.
I'll discuss the next three items, and without objection, you may combine those into one motion. These are three different county zoning resolution updates that are requested or needed. The first one deals with data centers in the county. There is no current regulations on data centers. The county code director has written to us and asked, and the email is in your packet, to consider some regulations on data centers. We'll provide that back next month if you all start that one. Under letter C, this one deals with the Korea Zinc Crucible Metals project. This,
The top one also has site plan on the county.
no, that's the last one. Oh, it's in there twice. Okay. So the second one is, back in 2016, the county removed smelting operations from the county zoning resolution. With Korea Zinc expanding their building and moving to different properties, after we met with their lawyers and our lawyers, we feel it's needed to put it back in as a use permitted on review, which means it goes through the Board of Zoning Appeals because of the additional property and the basically doubling of the size of the property that's out there. So this will be putting that back in there and adding back the conditions and the review process through the BZA. And that helps keep that project on schedule. And then the final one, after discussing the city vape shop ordinance with the Land Development Advisory Committee this past month, the county commissioners on that board asked that if we could look at the same thing for the county. And then I would also say pending the discussion we have to have on the city site plan stuff, we'll have to mirror that language in the county. So we'll also update that and bring that back. That'll be three separate resolutions because they're really three very different topics next month. But we do need to kick those off, and happy to answer any questions, or you can vote on starting those.
Yes, ma'am.
If there's no objection, can I just make a motion to take up all three items together with one vote?
We're going to do it, I think, that way, yes.
What about the requirements to have the traffic impact study and drainage plan informal meeting?
Pre-informal.
The discussion about
Yeah.
that was part of this.
That's part of the site plan requirement. Yeah, so we got that covered
be part
under
of the
and
site
the
plan?
site plan
Okay.
requems. So we'll make sure that's in one of those two or.
Then I'll make a
resolutions that come
motion
back.
to approve all three of those items as mentioned.
All right, so we have B, C, and D being taken up all at once.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and properly made second. Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, B, C, and D passes.
All right, commissioners, it's not on the agenda, but we do have it's a special day, and Bill, let's make it 3 hours here, right? What's 5 more minutes? For those of you who aren't aware, Bill Kimbrough, he's the county mayor's representative, and he runs coterminous with the county mayor, and he was Jim Durrett's guy for 8 years, and then Wes Golden, when Wes was starting, I said, please don't take Bill. We're going to be left with a big loss. We knew we were losing Richard Swift that same year, and I appreciate you willing to stay around for another 4 years. And I know it's been probably some of the hardest 4 years that we've had here at the Planning Commission. So first off, we got a small certificate of appreciation presented to Bill Kimbrough on this 25th day of August 2026 in grateful recognition of his 12 years of service as a Clarksville, Montgomery County Regional Planning Commissioner serving the citizens of Clarksville and Montgomery County, as signed by myself and the chairman. So thank you there. And we do have some consolation prizes for you.
Oh, my.
for putting up with us. So I do appreciate your time. I know your wife is going to enjoy having you back.
Well, she, oh, you got it.
Thanks a lot. We're definitely going to miss your motions here.
I won't get as many gray hairs anymore. How about that? You got a few left. Yeah, I do. Thank y'all. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Bill.
It has been a pleasure.
All right, one last thing. One last thing on the agenda here to wrap things up. We have a public comment period. If anybody would like to address the commission, you can get 3 minutes. All right, thank you. All right, come on up, sir. Name and address, please.
William Lang, Billy Lang, 19 Love Street. Bill, I appreciate everything you've done in this city for all the years and hard work that you put in. And I thank every one of y'all as you make your decisions. That's all I got.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. All right, I will entertain a motion.
Motion has been entertained.
Yes, sir. All right, I got a motion to adjourn. Can I get a second? All right, we are adjourned. Thank you, guys.